Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here to RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live as we are bringing you the Rise of Champions 250, the championship event here for the Raven Graphics and eSpeed Contender Series, last race on the docket this season. And boy, oh boy, it's going to be a good one. Randy Chinnock, Jake Blackhall, who I definitely almost called Alvin Nieves, and Hugo Louis bringing you all the action tonight. Over 167 laps of action. 4 drivers have gone down the long championship train here this season, and they will duke it out for the championship. And you know what? Let's introduce those 4 right now. So, Brandon Holder is going to be the first of the 4 drivers. He came in with 2 wins, average start this season of 8th, and an average finish of 9th. The American Motorsports team owner started out the season straight away with his 2 big victories, and we wondered whether anyone would be able to stop the streak. The competitive field did, but Holder kept his cool and continued to finish races in strong positions, which ultimately led to him having the best average finish of all title contenders. Holder is always fast and consistent, and it may pay out for him today and chase his first championship.
Second driver that we're going to be looking at is Ed Zaghetti, the driver number 58. Came away with 2 wins this season, average start of 10th, average finish of 12th. The Full Throttle Motorsports driver had an up and down season to say the least, winning a race early on in the year to lock himself into the chase. His next win wouldn't come till when it counted, the most in the first round of the chase, advancing him automatically into round 2. He's been fast, but getting caught up in too many incidents could be his downfall, so staying out of trouble tonight could lead him to a run at the championship.
Third driver we have is the number 4 machine of Randall Fawkes. He's been dominant. 5 wins, the most of anyone this season, and has shown race pace that hasn't been seen since Townsend. He has all the makings of taking this title, but mistakes have ultimately cost him more victories. Fawkes is definitely going to be the favorite coming into tonight, and I don't think there's anyone that wouldn't put it past him to take it out if he stays out of trouble.
And our final, the championship defender, the defending series champ, Keith Stewart, no wins, but it hasn't stopped him before. Stewart is ultra consistent when it comes to a championship, rounding out this season with the most points coming into the chase. He has every chance to get this job done tonight. He has the best average start among the championship contenders, but the race pace hasn't been quite there compared to his rivals. He is the dark horse, but the defending series champ doesn't want to give up that crown just yet.
So with that, as these guys take the grid here at Homestead, let's go down your starting grid for the last race of the season. It's all in the marbles here, boys. Let's go racing. Randall Fawkes, championship favorite for sure coming in, takes pole. Starting on the outside of him is that 28 machine of Tim Marlowe. Also important to note that Randall, big win last night on Tuesday at Darlington. He won the 2nd split of the iRacing Pro Series. He's trying to get his way into the Peak Gaming Free Series next season, so he's coming into this race with momentum. Starting behind him on road 2, another championship contender on the inside. Ed Zaghetti is in 3rd with Ivan Trum starting on the outside of him. Travis Turnmeyer, a name we've not seen very much, starts on the inside of road 3, right alongside the 16 of Keith Stewart, and Brandon Holder in 7th on row number 4 with Christian Joyce. So all 4 of your championship contenders start in the top 7. Paul Bliss, Burt Wilson, they make up row 5, which rounds out your top 10. James Torrey, Abe Bowden on row 6. Brad Patterson with a paint scheme we will not mention whatsoever today, starting with Perry Snelson. Sean Ryan and Bobby Everhart on row 8. Aaron Ames, Brent Day, row 9. Everett F. Lane and Doc Stout rounding out the top 20. The rest of these drivers did not put down qualifying times. Doug Lemons and Adam Jocelyn on row 11. Jason Sizov and Brent Keith. Points no longer on the line, so they go back to their old ways. Doyle Lawrence and Timmy Logwood Jr. on row number 13. Ryan Lang, Timothy McQueen, row 14. And James Hickson and Glenn Jamieson, row number 15. 30 trucks here tonight, and Jake, it's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good one, Randy, and I think we may have to mention that retail gate of Brad Patterson's car a couple of times tonight, but it's going to be interesting. All these 4 chase contenders inside that top 7, and front row lockout for Randall Fawkes Racing. Marlowe got it done last week. Now he needs to play teammate and wingman to Randall Fawkes and try and get himself a championship.
So the field rolls through 3 and 4. Homestead Miami Speedway, 250 miles, 15 miles extra from a typical event, 167 laps around this 1.5 mile racetrack. Pace car ducks to the safety of pit lane, and Randall Falks takes the green flag from the iRacing starting stand. We are green here at Homestead in the Ride of the Champions 250 here from Homestead, and Randall Falks, he gets the lead early as Zaghetti fights door to door with Tim Barlow here through 1 and 2.
Yeah, the 58 of Ed Zaghetti, he did not want to sit there in P number 3. He moved straight away in front of Tim Barlow, going to try and hold on to Randall Falks in front of him. Behind, though, that looks like Brendan Holder, on the inside of the 3 of Ivan Schrum. He's already made a couple of spots. Keith Stewart on that high side, dropping back, and Ivan Schrum's going to try and go a long way around, hold it around the outside, but got a little bit stuck behind Termeyer, but so far, so clean.
I think that number 31 machine will be happy with the fact that you're confusing him with Travis Townsend there as they roll off through 1 and 2 now for the second time, and Brandon Holder, good moves by him to pick up the 4th spot over Travis Turnmeyer. So 3 chase contenders up amongst your top 4. Last one currently running is Keith Stewart. He started a couple spots up where he currently runs in 6th. He's fallen back to 8th. So going the wrong way is that 16 machine, but he seems to have stabilized and setting his sights now on that 3 machine of Ivan Schrum.
Yeah, Keith Stewart, not the best start. We know it's not really his comfort zone, so hopefully he can get into a rhythm and try and pick up some positions in that Kuro Carbon truck tonight. Ivan Schrum to the inside of Termeyer. He's going to try and follow Paul Bliss through on that position. That is going to be for the 6th position at the moment, coming down the backstretch just behind Paul Bliss. Still side by side for those two coming into turn number 3, and they're going to get clear before they enter the middle of the corner. Interesting racing lines at the moment, running pretty low down on the apron, and as the 3, gets a little bit of a wriggle, I think, coming off of turn number 4, and that's sort of held him up. Here comes the 16 and Keith Stewart to the inside.
So he wants to start moving up positions right here, right now. Travis Turnmeyer is going to be the first one that he's going to go by, and he should have that job done, and indeed he will. They come down the back straightaway. 54 machine, maybe a little bit of momentum, but not quite able to get there. Next in line is going to be the 3 of Ivan Schrum in front of that 16 machine, and well, Ivan's already stretching the gap here as they roll through 3 and 4 and down this front straightaway. Paul Bliss as well, having an interestingly good run here tonight, Jake. We're not typically used to seeing that 85 here up in the top 5, but new build, new tracks, well, new way the tracks worked. That 85 machine seems to have hit on something.
The 85 has been quick, sort of partial way through this season, hasn't he, Randy? He's been on and off, and most of the times he's more off than on. And when he's on, he can run with these top 5 guys out the front. He just needs to be more consistent, and I think he'll say that himself. If he could just get the consistency, stay out of trouble, he'd be all right to challenge these guys next season. So right now, he's trying to show what he can do with these championship contenders up in front, and pretty much the only person that isn't inside that top 4 that is a championship contender is Tim Barlow running in that 3rd spot. He's got Brandon Holder around about a 10th quicker last time round, and Bliss behind are roughly the same lap time. So those 3 are going to be pretty tight-knit for most of this race.
Now, talking about this championship format, everyone, if you've ever watched a NASCAR championship the last, dozen or so years, should be familiar with the chase format. Everyone comes into this final race amongst your top 4, even in the points. All of these drivers come in. It doesn't really matter what the point number is, whether it's 5,000 or 5 million or just 0. All 4 drivers are scored equal on points, and it's going to basically be, it is going to be whoever outfinishes the other 3, they will be champion at the end of 250 miles racing tonight.
Yeah, and there's no lead lap bonuses, there's no most positions, and there's none of that. So it's literally where you finish in terms of those 4 chasing contenders is who's going to take up the championship. Right now, obviously, Randall Falks out in front. So if you win the race, you win the race, you win the championships. It's pretty much that easy, and Randall needs to go and get that done. Zaghetti's with him at the moment. Marlowe has got Holder, and Bliss is just sitting there right now. These top 5 pretty much spread out a couple of truck lengths over Ivan Schrum, who can't close that gap with Keith Stewart behind him. But right now, Bliss, I think he wants to maybe play a little bit of a part in this. He's looking to the inside of Brandon Holder, not close enough this time around through the middle of 3 and 4. But Bliss definitely looks like he has a truck that might be able to challenge this guy.
Bliss definitely looks good, as you said, and he's not someone we're used to seeing run strong. He's typically, he's been a top 10 truck through the second half of this season, but not been at this sort of pace where he's knocking on the door of the 31 or Brandon Holder or Marlon Zaghetti or Fox. And that's one thing that's just been here to me, Jake, these top 5, we're used to seeing 1 or 2 trucks break away early. This top 5 is very, very close here. All of your, well, 3 of your 4 championship contenders in this top 5, and the next one not too much further back running in 7th. So everyone seems, with some of the, build changes, setups kind of got erased and essentially etched away. Everyone seems to be hitting on something that is getting relatively similar pace out of all these machines.
Yeah, everyone's pretty much running, like you said, that similar pace at the moment out in front, and there's not much difference between each of these 5 trucks. And it's a little bit interesting knowing that coming into this race, it could all be about being ultra consistent and making sure you manage those pit stops. I've already spoken to a couple of guys, and it's looking around about 50 laps is going to be the window on fuel. You can stretch that if you fuel save a little bit early, as Randall Fox stretches that gap out just a little bit out in front. But it's around about a 50 lap window for fuel, so they're going to be stopping at least twice to get the job done tonight. But that last little stint, you may have to come in for a splash and dash, so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, as the 28 looks very close to the 58 of Zaghetti coming into 3.
That he does is Zaghetti maybe coming under a bit of attack. He's lost the rear of that 4 machine of Randall Fox the last handful of laps. 28 of Marlowe looking to the inside now of that Full Throttle Motorsports truck in the 58. Not going to quite be able to get there. The progressive banking up this racetrack, helping that 58 machine on the top side. Marlowe not quite able to get it there, as see trucks up and down the field, Jake, fanning out to different parts of the racetrack. Some people like in that high groove, some people like in the middle, and others going to the bottom.
Yeah, already starting to search around for where that's going to be the fastest line, especially later on once this track completely rubbers in. You're going to be searching around trying to find the different lines that suit your truck, especially in the later stages, and Zaghetti's truck just doesn't look like it doesn't want to go anywhere at the moment. It's Marlowe all over the back of him. Holders there as well with the watching brief. They dropped off Bliss just a little bit. Everyone else pretty much still single file down in the pack. One person who's making moves is actually that 70 truck, Doug Lemons. No qualifying time, started 21st, already up to P number 13.
A good move there by him. Ed Zaghetti, though, still coming under attack from the 28 of Marlowe and still holding on to that spot. So Marlowe, I think he might be the quicker of these two, Jake. Should be able to get that job done at some point, but that 58 machine has just enough underneath him that he's able to be really, really strong. And that's one of the things with Ed Zaghetti, is that we haven't seen him really be really good since Dover, when he got that race victory. He's been good and he's been consistent, almost similar to Keith Stewart in a sense, in just getting good points week in and week out. But really, we haven't seen him in this sort of situations that I can think of since Dover a couple months back.
Yeah, it's been a while between drinks for the 58 at Zaghetti, and it's sort of the case of he just needs to get that consistency, like we mentioned earlier, under his belt. He should be okay, and he's doing that at the moment coming in P2, but the truck just doesn't seem like it's handling the way he wants. Marlowe is literally all over the back of him underneath that tailgate. They've already dropped about a second to the race leader, Randall Fox, out in front. Zaghetti going ultra high through 1 and 2, just trying to figure out where he can make this truck fast. Behind them, Holder is now under a lot of pressure from Bliss. He was having a little bit of a look. He had to throw a little block down the back straightaway just to try and hold that run of poor Bliss up. I don't think Holder wants to give up any positions, but I don't think he really wants to try and make any on Marlowe. He just wants to see if he can get Marlowe to go around Zaghetti and then just try and see if he can capitalize on it.
Seems to me right now, Jake, watching that 4 machine, he's got something nice for him once this truck starts running a handful of laps, because he has stretched the gap over that second place pack to Ed Zaghetti. The gap is out to just over a second here out there on the racetrack, and so that 58 machine not really having that long run pace over Randall Fox. And we mentioned the fact that we used to seeing 1 or 2 trucks break away early. That little breakaway is starting to come right here, right now. As Keith Stewart, he's also slowly reeling in that group out in front of us. Marlowe's going to make the move here on Ed to the inside down the front straightaway. 28 machine wants that second spot to give his teammate a little bit of a buffer, but still, that 28 machine, Jake, he cannot set that car nicely down on the inside or in the middle of the racetrack. He has to be up top, it seems, to make the move. Truck just doesn't like it down there.
Yeah, truck does not like it. And look at the ground that he's lost to the 58 of Edward Zaghetti. He's moved out a couple of truck lengths there, around about 3/10 of a second to Tim Marlowe. Now Holders there, maybe able to capitalize. Bliss looks like actually the strongest truck out of this 4, Randy. It's interesting saying that. His truck just looks nicely handled at the moment. He had a little look the last couple of laps on Brandon Holder. He has another big look going into 1 and 2. They both dive it straight into the corner. Holder running right up high near the wall. Paul Bliss right near that low line, going to get that job done. Good move from Paul Bliss in that 85.
Yeah, well done by Paul to move himself up on Brandon Holder there. Brandon not going to be too happy about that, of course, being the championship contender, but it's still early. Only 18 laps about to be log completed. The 28 of Marlowe still fighting door-to-door with the 58 of Ed Zagetti, but again, that inside not quite able to make it stick. And the thing is, Jake, I think that's just going to be a setup thing. Paul Bliss, he goes down to the inside, ultra low line on Tim Marlowe, not able to get there. So Paul Bliss, he seems to have hit on something as well here, showing good speed right now. Ivan Schrum also knocking on the back door of Brandon Holder. But interesting that we're seeing this 28 machine struggle so hard down on the bottom. And I have to say, if the 28 machine is going to be struggling down there, what happened if someone can get to Randall? Is finally that 28 truck of Marlowe going to make that move stick? Should be able to get the spot cleared through 1 and 2 this time.
It should be able to get it stuck and get the job done. He does so. I think he had to make that move, knowing that Paul Bliss has got a quicker truck at the moment. He had to get it done. But yeah, if Randall's can't sort of, I'd say they've run the same similar setups. There's 2 teammates out there now running 1 and 2. But if Tim Marlowe can't get the truck down there, it's nice. If Randall has to pass later on in the day around about a 20-lap window on a stint, he might be struggling as well. So there's something to keep in the back of our minds when we get down to that stage of the race. But right now, the back of Brandon Holder is Ivan Schrum. The 3 truck has caught this pack as well. So while they were all jostling for position, the 3 of Ivan Schrum's going to see what he can do to mix up this little championship fight.
Championship fights getting shaken up and down the field here. Well, up amongst your top group where all your chase runners currently are, as Tim Marlowe going to just comfortably cycle into that second spot. And I think the 85 machine, Jacob, Paul Bliss, we saw him have a few laps there where he just actually seemed to be one of the quickest trucks on the racetrack, if not the quickest truck on the racetrack. Seems like that little window for him has sort of gone away as he's still trapped behind that 28 machine. Could be that the 28 machine was just getting held up by Ed a little bit, but looks to me like Paul Bliss had that short window where he's really good. Not quite there yet as he looks down to the bottom on the 28 of Marlowe. Can't quite make it stick though. But that 85 of everyone looks strongest on the bottom that I've seen.
He is actually the lowest I think we've seen all day. He's running right down near that low line, running right down near the white line. And it looks like the truck is actually quite nice for him to run down there. It looks like he can do it every lap. Doesn't need to go up near that wall as Tim Marlowe does last time around, but he can just get it done. He's still getting the pace out of it compared to these guys in front of him. A couple of tenths was lost that time around, but I think that was because he got real caught up on the 28 of Tim Marlowe in front of him. Behind though, the 31 of Holder moves himself up into P number 5. That drops Zagetti down another position. Here comes Ivan Schrum with a run coming off the turn number 2 down the back straightaway now, side by side with the 58. It does the 3, and he's going to get that job done. And now the 16 of Keith Stewart's going to be the next target. Ed Zagetti's truck is dropping away. It's come up to around that lap 20 mark, and the tyres are gone.
Schrum also really loose off that 4th corner. This is going to make things very difficult because the 16 has a run on Ed. Looks down to the inside. Does your defending series champion of Keith Stewart, and down to the bottom he goes. He looks good through the middle of the racetrack here on his current set of tires, and he's going to happily take that spot away from Ed Zagetti and no longer be that last place runner in terms of the points goes. Still early, but important to realize that things are still playing effect. And you mentioned at the top of the show, Jake, well, not at the top of the show, but not too long ago, 50 laps is about going to be the gap on fuel that we're going to be expecting people to run, as actually the fight for seconds hotting up. 85 Paul Bliss has a run, wheel to wheel to 28 of Marlowe down to that inside, and Paul Bliss down on the bottom of the racetrack. He likes the flat down there. He gets clear the 28. Can Marlowe work the cutback down the back straightaway? Yes, he will, but we know Marlowe does not like that middle and low groove out here on the racetrack. Great move by Paul Bliss to get up in the second spot, and he takes that low line away from the 28.
Good move from the 85. Good defensive run as well through 3 and 4. Knows that that's the line that he wants to take, and no one can run lower than him, so he can just get that truck down there, run his normal line. He will be fine, and right now Tim Marlowe is going to have to see what he can do. But that 85 definitely coming on strong. Only a tenth slower than the race leader, Randall Fox, out in front. Obviously still roughly 3 seconds is that 4 out in front of him, but he might be able to just keep that little bit of a gap in hand to him and see whether Tim Marlowe can now go with him, because that 28 right now already pulled out a couple of truck legs on him.
So Paul definitely showing good pace here, as is Brandon Holder, who runs 4th, Ivan Schrum 5th, and Ivan coming under a little bit of attack here from the 16 to Keith Stewart, but these two have basically been line astern since the drop of the green flag. 16 has been following the 3 through a number of this traffic. To the bottom, though, goes Keith Stewart. Can he make it work down there? Ivan, a little bit of a hiccup coming off the corner there on the corner number 2. We saw him get loose coming off 4 a while ago, and he got a little bit of a wiggle right there as well, but he's still able to hold good pace and keep that 16 behind him.
Yeah, still able to hold that pace up there and hold Keith Stewart for another lap. But out in front, I was just having a last time round, actually, Paul Bliss was quicker by about half a tenth of a second than Randall Foulkes. Again, a tenth quicker is Paul Bliss out on the racetrack. So that 85's got some pace out there, as the 16 still not close enough to challenge Ivan Schrum. This time round, he gets loose through the middle of the corner. A good save by the 16 truck. He was a little bit loose coming off the turn number 2, drops some ground to the 3 in front.
Now here's the question we need to ask here, Jake, that I meant to get out earlier, but then fighting started happening, but now things have gotten a little bit spread out here. 50 laps on fuel is what you said, and we saw in the pro race last night on LSR TV that it's about 40 some odd laps people were going just on tires at Darlington. Now Darlington, of course, slightly shorter track, a lot more abrasive than we are here at Homestead, but you think we're going to see people maybe call it a little bit shorter than that 50 lap count just based on the tire wear? It was a 3-second drop off last night at Darlington, and looking here tonight, let's take a look at Randall Foulkes in his fastest lap, 31.8. Last time through at 33.7, so he's already dropped off 2 seconds over this 28 lap run. So do you call it 50? Do you call it 40? When do you decide to not to come down pit lane?
It's an interesting one right now, especially with the way it's going to be. I think you're going to have to call it early, because I think you may want to actually stretch out that last window, because if you come down 50-50 and then 50, you're left with 17 on laps in the last stint. You may as well bring those pit stops earlier just a little bit, see what you can do. So I reckon you're going to be looking around that 45 lap mark to come down pit road. I think that's going to be where we see some people, but as Szigeti going to try something else, the 58 on pit lane right now, and as we know, you have to take the full pit entrance here. You can't actually cut off of turn number 4. I have to take the full entrance, and Ivan Schrum as well coming in front of him as well. So lap 30, and these guys are already calling it.
Full throttle trucks, they opt to come down pit lane early, so this is going to be the early stop for them. We've seen Randall Foulkes this season have people come down pit lane, and Randall has liked the longer run. So I think for Randall Foulkes, now that those cars behind have come down pit lane, and he'll likely know, 16 and Keith Stewart, he's also calling in an early stop. He comes down 1 lap later compared to those full throttle guys. So 16 machine on pit road, as well as 2 of your chase contenders. As Burt Wilson, he has a mirror full of Doug Lemons, but strategy coming up aplenty right here, right now, as Doug's going to try to get that move on Burt, and he's not going to have it done just yet. Burt Wilson with Santa Claus on the hood, putting a good fight up on the top side, but not quite able to get it done. Doug picks up that spot. But now the question is, I think if you're Randall Foulkes, Jake, you've just run this last couple laps, still out there on the racetrack, you pretty much have locked yourself in right here, right now, to pitting no earlier than about lap number 46, because you need to have enough laps in the tank over these guys that just came down pit road to sort of get the reverse of the undercut.
Yeah, you definitely do, and I think that's the case for these guys down in front. I think Randall should be trying to push that 50 lap window, maybe even push that a little bit more. Depends on if he's been saving any fuel out in front, if he's been running conservative, which is always scary to think if that Ford's been running conservative out in front. Maybe have a little bit more to get out of that in terms of the lap count. So we'll see what Randall is able to push out of this at the moment, but the 4 right now, just consistently going around out in front. It was actually a couple of tenths quicker than Paul Bliss again and again. Another lap by another tenth goes the way of the 4 as the Holder, Brendan Holder to pit lane, and 31. It's another interesting call. I'm surprised by these, Randy, because I wasn't expecting people to be coming down this early, maybe around that 40, but 33 odd laps, and they're already coming down that 2-second lap difference. They want to try and get back to being nothing.
Oh, and Holder misses his pit box. That's going to be big. Not a lot of time, but still, that's going to be lost for him in that number 31 machine. Not what he would have wanted to see here. As that 4 of Randall Foulkes, he stays out on the racetrack. 85, 28, top 3. They've all yet to blink. Same with the likes of Turnmeyer, Patterson, Lemons, Wilson, Bowden, Snelson. Most of your field choosing not yet to come down pit lane. It's about 2/3 that have not come down just yet, and 1/3 that have. And as we stay like this, it's going to be an interesting situation about what happens, because the more trucks that stay out, I think the better you are staying out, because it means you're less likely to get a yellow to come out, because everything's so spread out right now. But as more and more trucks come down, Jake, could be mistakes getting on pit lane. I've actually been taken out in a race here because of that. Someone messed up the pit entry and carried a bunch of speed, put the right side tires on the grass, went up on the racetrack. That could be a situation that happens. You'd also have the fact that basically you're going to have people out there 2 seconds quicker than everyone else. Incident, we're basically at that point now with people coming off pit road that the highest likelihood of an incident probably right here, right now, is the number of trucks that have yet to pit.
Yeah, the number of trucks yet to pit, and these people on on quick tyres. You see the Ivan Strum in that 3 truck. He just managed to just carve his way through the field. Now, Ed Zaghetti in that 58, he's doing the same. He's just going to carve up the 7 right now through the middle of 3 and 4 and get that job done. And now he's got a couple of truck lengths to the rest of the guys in front of him. He'll close that gap so quickly that they won't know what hit him. So it's sort of going to be an interesting phase of the race right now as Patterson right now with the 42, and there is the 58 again. He's going to go the high side. He's going to go the long way around the 42 of Patterson. Same with Termeyer. He may have to duck low depending on what Doug Lemons is going to do. Termeyer to pit lane, and so is Doug Lemons. So that actually helped Zaghetti get around. That's the 16 of Keith Stewart, now struggling with the 42 of Brad Patterson, but he gets the job done around the outside of 3 and 4.
Cornelius and the Humble Bumble running there on Brad Patterson's machine, and he's now going to watch the 16 of Keith Stewart slowly drive off in the distance due to the new tires on that 16 machine. Lap time differential, as we've been saying, that 42 machine's down in the 34s. Let's take a look at Randall Falks. He's still pulling 33.9, so a few tenths quicker than that 42, but lap times have dropped off a lot. Over 2 full seconds now from what these guys were doing in the beginning of the run. And for all these guys, the 54 Turnmeyer, he actually missed his box trying to get it in, and he actually, I think, made a mistake. We saw this in the pro race last night as well, Jake. A lot of people, it seems that the dimensions that you can pull your trucks and NASCAR cars into pit lane with the new animated pit crews is a lot tighter. We've seen a number of people, both in different private leagues as well as the top level of sim racers and people that are trying to run their way into the Peak Series, really struggling at times getting onto pit road, making untypical mistakes we used to see.
Yeah, I think definitely once that window is a little bit tighter now when you pull that truck or car into the box, and it's just making little mistakes here and there, and you've got to be more precise, which I think is another thing that you need to be. I think there's a little bit too much leniency in the pit box that you can get away with. So now it's much tighter. You've got to be pretty much on your marks and get the job done, and you'll get a quick pit stop out of it. So it's good. It's good to have it all how it is now. I can't wait till we get to see all 42 or 60 odd trucks with pit crews. It's going to be absolutely amazing to see, and when that comes in, it's going to be awesome. But right now, just a single pit crews for each person on their own end, as the 54 goes flying past the 4 through 102, as Randall's still running long, and at the moment Randall, Bliss, Marlowe, Wilson, they're all still out there running around at the moment. Abe Bowden starts in pit, Christian Joyce, James Torrey, Everett F. Lane, Ryan Lang, and also Doc Stout. The first person has come down pit lane, 1 lap down, is Ivan Strum in the 3.
The 3 machine comes down pit lane, and we've now reached a situation where most cars have ended up pitting. We got 1 car up in the wall. This is the 35 of Ryan Lang. He didn't hit it very hard, but through 1 and 2, just got up the racetrack and just scraped it after getting in the marbles, and not going to be heavy damage, and he's going to easily be able to keep out there and run it. Now, one thing, Jake, I'm already thinking about is fuel. Most of these guys, we just saw them come down, around lap number 30. When did the 58 come down? What lap number was that? He came on lap number 30. So, yeah, so I'm already doing the math in my head. If you're Ed Zaghetti, 30, 60, 90, 120, and then you either have to do a super long run or a normal run with a short run. If you're Randall Falks, if you've already gone past 40 laps, 40, 80, 120, and then you get to 167 really easily, really well. This is what I like about the fact that Randall Falks does, and we've seen him do this, it's not, I don't think we've ever seen the 4 machine work the undercut. We always see him run strong and try to take some of those extra stops out of the equation.
Yeah, tries to take those extra stops as P number 2 comes down on the pit lane. That's the 85 of Paul Bliss. Nice and cleanly into the box to the 85, and he's going to get 4 tyres and fill her up. And now we'll see how much time actually Paul Bliss has lost compared to those around him. Obviously, he would have lost a little bit of time, but it'll be a little bit evident now compared to those around him how much ground he has lost. Randall Falks now still out in front, floating around out there, around about 6 seconds over Tim Marlowe now as they go through 1 and 2, and it's going to be interesting to see where pretty much where Paul Bliss sort of funnels out now as he comes down through 1 and 2 on the pit exit road. And looking at where he's actually going to come out, he's going to come out down in 17th, which is behind Brent Keith, Doug Lemons, Brent Day. Those guys all pitted, or Brent Day was the earliest, pitted 12 laps ago. Brent Keith pitted 10 laps ago. So that's a lot of cars that he's now behind that he's got to try and make up again.
I'm sure that's not a very good feeling, isn't it, coming out of pit lane and seeing all sorts of trucks out in front of you, especially here in the season finale. But this sort of still all eyes right now on those front-running groups. You have those two and top two teammates who are currently running in the Randall Fawkes Racing, Randall Fawkes and Tim Marlowe. They both just locked into this strategy. Ford Machine's got himself a 6-second gap over his teammate second, and Tim all sorts of sideways coming off corner number 4. But they're just locked in and logging laps on laps on laps on laps here. And looking at the weather here today, it's actually relatively cool conditions, isn't it? Mostly cloudy today, 80-degree ambient with 89-degree track temperature. That's, of course, going to get hotter as the race goes on, but not necessarily measured here in the info black box. But, you know, Randall really taking advantage of this long run.
Yeah, he's just taking advantage of it and going to use it to his advantage later on. And when you think about it with Paul Bliss as well, just another point with that, Paul was actually running around about 4 seconds behind Randall Fawkes. So if you put Paul and where he is running actually right now, you add 4 seconds to where he is, and roughly he's going to drop in behind Brandon Holder is where that 4 is going to come out. So he would have lost a couple of trucks. Obviously Getty, Schrum, Stewart will have got in front of him, as well as Holder. So that's actually going to put him, the last truck of these ones is actually the 58 of Ed Szigeti, going to come down to the inside, coming off the turn number 4 down the front straightaway, and he's going to unlap himself. So this just goes to show where Randall is going to drop back in, and as each lap ticks over, that's another couple of seconds, because right now they're roughly around about just in the 34.1, so still over 2 and a bit seconds slower than their fastest laps.
Closing in on 50 laps scored complete here tonight as Randall Fawkes works the inside. Works the inside and lets the 58 of Ed Szigeti go. That's going to put him on the lead lap of the Ford machine of Randall, all sorts of loose. And now you're going to have the 31 machine of Brandon Holder looking to unlap himself and still trying, just basically waiting to see when these guys opt to come down pit lane. Handful of drivers who have still yet to pit. It's currently Randall Fawkes who leads, then Tim Marlowe, Burt Wilson, Christian Joyce, and I believe Everett F. Lane is the last one. Has it ever come down to pit road? No, he hasn't. Everett F. Lane hasn't come down. Ryan Lang hasn't come down. I believe the first one, is it Ivan?
Yeah, Ivan's the first one that hasn't come down. Doc Stout's on 48 lap old tyres, so he still has to come down pit road. Ivan is the first that has a pit. He is actually right behind Doc Stout, and as I say that, he is now in front of Doc Stout. So that just shows to show how much these guys are actually gaining. They can get a pit stop and pass people who still are yet to make their stop. So Ivan Schrum, Keith Stewart actually running nose to tail right now, as that 16's got a little bit more pace over that 3 is pretty much through traffic is where he's been able to make all the time up. So everyone else pretty much in front of those besides Doc Stout yet to come down pit road, and at the moment no one has opted to come down into pit lane, as Randall Fawkes still out in front. Wilson still running as well in P number 3. Thought he may jump down, but isn't. Joyce, Everett Lane and Brian Lang still all out there on the racetrack, and they've just ticked over lap 50 now, has the race leaders, so maybe a little bit of fuel saving going on out there in front.
Perhaps it might be the situation, but he's showing good speed out here regardless. He's dropped down in the 34s, so we're closing in on that 3-second window that we saw last night in the Cup cars and the Pro Race on LSR TV. But regardless, for Randall Fawkes, he's still got a good lead over his teammate, 6.88 seconds. And there's one thing I'm a little bit surprised by, Jake, is that the 28 of Marlowe, they haven't sort of used him as a guinea pig just yet. I would have think that with this being the first stint, you know, you have a team truck out there that doesn't have a dog in the fight. In the fight as far as the championship is concerned. I'm surprised they don't pull a, say, Audi at Le Mans or Porsche at Le Mans, bring that truck down early, see what the new tires are like, see what the pace differential is like, get an estimation on the traffic. I'm a little surprised that doesn't happen this time through.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, the one they haven't tried to bring Tim Marlowe down, but I think they'd rather be with Tim Marlowe, with Randall Fawkes, in case they need him to play sort of just a backman at the moment. So they're going to see what they can do. It's very early in this race when you think of it. They're only just logging lap number 52 in the books of 167, so still over 100 laps to go. They will start to wind down, but Randall sort of comfortably running out in front. None of the top 6 have yet to come down pit road either. I think Doc Stout is still running out there as well. He hasn't come down onto pit lane. No, he hasn't. So pretty much this entire top 6 running out there, just coming up to complete lap 53. And it's interesting, Randy, because I said lap 50. I got told conservative run you'd make 56. But I didn't think we'd see anyone stretching it to that window, especially this early.
So of course, you know, one of those situations where, because with the new build, I've heard a lot of people talking that the way the tires work is that they do fall off a little bit harder near the end of the race. And Randall Foulkes might just be taking the gamble that he'd rather have the tires at their worst now and then have nice short runs that he can take to the end of the race. Because now, no matter what, he's well beyond the realm of having nice equal splits if he wants to try to make it a 3-stopper. He's sort of now in the situation of he's going to have, you know, if he does this twice, he'll be at 108. Actually, he 2-stop this?
That's what I was saying. The conservative strategy, they were saying 56, and that was running ultra conservative on terms of lap speed. If he can do that, that's pushing the realm of making it a 2-stop race, because by the time 56 it'll be 112. You can make it from there, can't you?
Yeah, that puts you right in the window, actually. So that's going to be really, really interesting. Lap number 56 ticks over right here, right now. If that 4 machine of Randall Foulkes has been saving fuel, he should be able to come down. If he can keep hitting 56s, well, if he can keep hitting 56 lap runs over the course of this event, he will have the fuel to 2-stop this, where everyone else is in 3 to 4-stop range, and instantly he comes down on pit road. So that 4 machine, he comes down 28, and Marlowe likely going to follow suit. Actually, he gets locked out by the 78 machine. Let's see if Marlowe has the fuel to make it around another lap.
Marlowe's going around another one. See what he can do is the 24 was actually spun in front of pit lane. That would have caught Randall off guard. A lot of caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting the car to be sideways across the pit entry, and the 4 luckily made it through and didn't get any contact with the 24. A lot of other people going around. I think Wilson maybe coming down pit lane. No, he's not. Wilson going around as well. So only the 4 on pit lane at the moment. So this guy is stretching a couple extra laps. They're getting the better of this window. Christian Joyce just leaving pit lane as well. But now, when you look at it, Randall is already in P10. And he is P11 now, and it's just continuing to drop him in this pack.
He's going to drop down a lot, but it's important to note that everyone else who just did 30-lap runs, they're going to be at the end. By the way, Tim Marlowe was able to stretch that additional lap, so he's going to be in a really good situation on fuel, just based on how it works. The 4 machine is coming up behind the 44, so he's going to be somewhere near the top, the tail end of your top 20 here. I think he'll be 18th cycling in now behind Jason Seidlove. It is that 4 machine, but the pace differential is going to be huge, because now we're going to have a situation where he's going to be out there, and these guys who all just did 30-lap runs, they're all going to now be on the very, very tail end of that. And I believe the race leader we should have, actually, as he's gotten around the 3 machine, is that 16 of Keith Stewart.
Yeah, the 16 of Keith Stewart will be the race leader as the 4 Randall Foulkes down, and an 18.27 pitch cycle there from Randall Foulkes, and that is slow. That is a really slow, and a same actually, thanks to Hugo for that as well, the same sort of pit stop time for Tim Marlowe. So both really slow stops for both of the Randall Foulkes racing trucks. Maybe just not as square on the marks as they would have liked, but right now they're going to have to make up the ground the hard way, and they can do that with the fresh tyres. And as they now cycle through P number 12 and P number 11, as I say that because Randall Foulkes just goes down the inside of Timmy Logwood Jr. through 1 and 2, making up the time, 16.5 seconds right now behind the race leader, and he can get that job done in a couple of laps. So I think this is pretty much in the box seat for Randall Foulkes. If he can stretch it to 112, it'd have to be over for everyone else, wouldn't it, Randy?
That's really the way it's looking, especially if it stays green. And actually, looking at the pit time, there's something, Jake, every single time we do one of these races, you and I start to hype up whether or not it's a fuel race, and then at the end, everyone's always like, oh yeah, we were fine on fuel. I don't think we've ever seen people really push that fuel count. Could that extra few seconds being set in the box just be the car getting filled up? Because I don't think we've ever seen someone ever come close to running one of these trucks dry. They're always, filling up from, half a tank, quarter tank, because of the way cautions normally go. I think that extra few seconds, that could just be fuel fill.
It could be, but I don't think it'd be that much. I think you'd be looking at maybe 14, 15. You got to remember, I don't think it'd be pushing 18 seconds. If it is, then that's a long stop. You take that into consideration. But with the fresh tyres, I think you wouldn't even worry about those extra couple of seconds. You gain that in one lap. Right now, when you think of it, Doug Lemons in front of the Ford Randall Fox, who's now in P number 6. He's already gotten around Perry Stelson and a couple of others. It's definitely not one of those things where you're looking at Lemons in front. Did a 33.8 and he already did a 32.6 last time around, so a second quicker again. And obviously another 29 laps, so Ivan Strum just did his pit window. He's just come out again, 15.7 seconds service for the number 3 truck. And that's an interesting one, Randy, because that's another 30 odd laps, comes down. Randall's in front, he's done it one stop to pretty much Ivan's 2, and he's a fair way behind. I don't know whether that strategy is going to work for them now.
Yeah, I really don't get the logic with the strategy. And the thing is with the 3 machine is that even though Ivan's not fighting for this championship, you can sort of use him as a metric, because very likely that all the Full Throttle Motorsports guys, if they're not on the same setup, going to be on something that's very, very similar. So if Ivan's coming down to pit road that early, you have to start putting question marks on that 58 of Ed Zaghetti and when he's going to come down pit road. All of our chase contenders, by the way, run top 6. Paul Bliss currently leads. Keith Stewart is in 2nd. Brandon Holder 3rd. Ed Zaghetti in 4th. Actually, that's a nice little train right there. Stewart from Holder from Zaghetti. And then Randall Fox currently in the 6th spot. He's about 6 seconds back. So he's 10 seconds off the race lead. Next truck in line is 6 seconds up ahead. That's Doug Lemons. He'll reel that in about 3 laps and have that job done by then. But we're about to have all our chase contenders here in the top 5.
Yeah, soon to be all chase contenders in the top 5, and as we said, you were saying 10 seconds, now entering the middle of 3 and 4 is now 9.3 seconds away from the race lead, only 4.3 seconds behind Doug Lemons, and every time I speak, it's just counting down. He is flying out there on the racetrack right now. At the line, 9.2. And already into turn number 1 under 9 seconds. So Randall Fox is flying out there at the moment in that number 4 truck, and he should be able to get those 2 in front of him quite quickly as they actually work some traffic. Zaghetti lost that spot to Doug Lemons through this traffic. Ivan Strum is also working his way back through this field after coming down for his 2nd stop of the night. And Holder's pretty much in his own little world at the moment in that P number 3 spot. He's actually closing down to Keith Stewart, but not as much as Randall Fox in that 4 is coming.
Yeah, Randall's pushing really hard right now as Keith Stewart. He's going to be liking his place, and I think if you're the 16 machine, you start praying for a yellow pretty much right here, right now, because he's the best currently scored chase contender out there on the racetrack. Now the thing is for all these guys, Jake, is question marks start to come up. Is now when do I come down pit road? I came down after 32 laps the last run, and well, Randall just goes out there and pushes an extra 24 laps, so you can't do that again. So now what do you do when you come down pit road? Do you just start pushing 40 lap stints? Do you try to push 56 the way Randall Fox is doing, or what? How would you play that?
Well, Zaghetti's come down and played that at 36 laps on those tyres and brought them down.
31 down as well.
Again. Yeah, and so it's... I just think that everyone's too concerned about the ultimate tyre speed and not thinking about that extra 50 odd miles at the end and being able to make it on 2 stops. I don't think these guys have really put that into consideration, because at the moment Randall is in the box seat. He's already carved up the field. He's up to around about 6.7 seconds away from the race lead. That was a quick stop from Zaghetti as well. If you can, Hugo has a pit time on that one, because that was super quick stop. 14.4, just that seems, obviously, thanks to Hugo once again, our lovely director in the background, but that was a much quicker stop than those two. It looked visibly quicker, but still only 14.4 for that 58 truck, and now rejoins pretty much down in 22nd with a lot of work to do.
So, interesting things up and down the field. Yeah, I just don't... That extra 50 miles, I think, like you said, might be really shaking things up for a lot of people, because you're right. I mean, in our typical races that are about 130, 140 laps, you know, it's 30 to 35 lap runs. Occasionally you'll see someone go 40, and that's about it. But it's one of those situations. These guys all just came down pit lane again on lap number, 65, 66, 68, 69, whatever that number was. Everyone else, well, not everyone else, but the 4 of the 28, they're not due down pit lane for another 42 laps.
Yeah, exactly. And by the time they come down pit lane again, the rest of them would have done another stop. So it's an interesting cycle that we're sort of in at the moment. Strategies everywhere at the moment. I think some of the strategies are a little bit short, and actually, as we say that, Keith Stewart's actually stretching it out. He's on 38 lap old tyres at the moment, so he's trying to stretch this stint out a little bit. As I say that, he's actually on the pit entry road, so no, he's not. He's coming down pit road. Jake, get your information right, because Keith Stewart on pit lane, and he didn't even break the 40 lap mark.
So it's like pretty much nobody able to push it. Caution flies. This might change up a lot. Where is it? Middle of 3 and 4.
Where is it? Who is it? The 92 of Timmy Logwood Jr. actually going down to the road course at the moment. Good road course here, I must say. And wondering how that one happened going down the backstretch. Let's bring a replay of that one up. Looked like he was going for pit lane and, yep, downshifted, and it just compression locked straight up into the outside fence, and that's going to be day done for the 92 of Timmy Logwood Jr. Hard hit with that outside wall.
Also got tagged by the 63 of Glenn Jamieson, and luckily he didn't come into this with a chance to win the championship. Otherwise, he would have had his heart broken again this week. But Timmy Logwood Jr., that's an unfortunate mistake, and you're right. I think he just, almost like he downshifted 2 gears instead of 1, and he just got all sorts of wheel op, and basically that drivetrain was like, I hope you like the outside wall, because that's where we're going.
Pretty much fed him into the outside wall, and he had no hope of saving that race truck. But now, caution. First one of the night, and doesn't this just shake it up a little bit? And Paul Bliss running out there in P number 1. He's going to get a free kick from this one on 30 lap olive tyres, and he's played that one to perfection. Same with Doug Lemons, pretty much now running in P number 3.
Wait, who's still on the lead lap? Keith will be on the lead lap. Holder will be a lap down. Ed will be a lap down. Oh dear. So
Holder and Ed have just come down pit lane. Ed came down 5 laps ago. Brandon Holder came down 4 laps ago. So they're going to get the wave around, but they'll be at the tail end. They'll be in a lot of traffic.
Yeah, so this is basically going to be the situation. 4 of Randall Fox. He leads the race. He's going to come down, enjoy his fuel, and he can basically 2-stop it from here. 50 laps takes you to lap. They'll probably split it into 40-some-odd lap runs. He probably won't push to 56 the way he just did. But actually, it'd be nice if we could get timers here for some of these guys to come down pit road. But regardless, 4 machine of Randall Fox, he's going to roll out. Doesn't really matter where he goes. He's going to have such a big advantage over the rest of the field. It's almost irrelevant. Well, over his chase contenders, which are the people really, really following here. 58 of Ed Zaghetti, he's going to take a wave around. He's going to have a few old laps on those tires. And 16 of Keith Stewart, I actually think he gets relatively lucky here. He just somehow stays on the lead lap. I think the yellow flew and he just drove through pit lane. He's going to come down pit lane now, stays on the lead lap, and he's going to start at the back end. So he's going to be somewhere around the likes of Holder, you know, and Zaghetti, but he should have new tires regardless. Actually, the 31 coming down pit road as well.
Yeah, should have new tires. Just have a look, yeah. we don't know what the 28 of Tim Marlowe is actually doing right now out on the racetrack. I think he was trying to funnel back into where he was and trying not to get a black flag. I don't know, especially when you're actually cutting through on the pit entry road here. You actually can pass a pace car, but he stopped quite suddenly actually on pit lane. So the 28's on pit road. He's going to get his service, I'd say now. It's not like he doesn't know where his box is. Oh, too short in the box now. Is he in the box? He is. So going to get that service now. But Marlowe's going to drop a fair way back on this one. And Paul Bliss is going to re-inherit that lead that he had.
I will say, even though it's nice for Randall Fox to get this yellow and the fact that he doesn't have to push the fuel the same way, Jake, I have a feeling this bails out everybody else as well. Because I think if you're Holder, Stewart, or Ed, you were just so far on the back foot. If it stayed green, it was going to be a horrendous race. But problem is, you're so far down the order now of the pack that it's just so. I don't see if there's any way if Randall finishes this race. I don't see there's any way the other 3 beat him unless some crazy stuff happens at the end.
And I actually have to agree with that. The Holder and Stewart, obviously, they've still got to get their wave arounds. I think they've already gotten to the back or tail end of the longest line at the moment. Tail of the field as Keith comes down actually onto pit lane again. It's one of those things now where I think you've really just played yourself on the back foot and you're going to be stuck. And we spoke about it earlier, traffic. Being in traffic, being in the incidents, now that you've bunched the field back up, they haven't been bunched up since lap 1 of this race. You bunch everyone back up, everyone's on alternate agendas now. Randall's obviously out in front where he wants to be. He's got Paul Bliss to his inside, Lemons behind with Brent Keith on the outside. It's one of those things, he's in a good position right now. He doesn't have his teammate up there, but he's still in a good position. Those other guys at the end of the pack, they're going to work through 20 odd trucks to even get to Randall Folks. By the time they get to him, Randall will most likely be 20 seconds out in front. So they've got a long, tough road. The 4 in the box seat at the moment, but still a long way to go.
So iRacing safety car about to be called down on towards pit lane, and the 85 of Paul Bliss, who's had a spectacular run tonight, will lead him to the green here. Pace car goes down on towards pit road. 85 machine immediately hops on that go pedal. We are back to racing here at championship night at Homestead, down towards corner number 1 and 2, and top 3 they all get single file early. 4 machine looks to the middle of the racetrack. 85 wants the bottom, but look at how hooked up the 4 of Falks is on the top side of the racetrack. He's already side by side with Paul as they come down the back straightaway. He takes the race lead right now.
Power move from the 4 of Randall Folks around the outside through 1 and 2, going to hold it through 3 and 4 Bliss. Now we're going to try and run that low line, but that 4 truck's been super strong in the middle groove, and he's going to take the race lead coming off of turn number 4. The 4 back to the front. He's going to try and now just pull away from the rest of the field behind pretty much single file. Lemons had a little look. Ivan Schrum making his way past James Torrey. That is for P number 10. Now having a look on the 63 of Glenn Jameson. So a little battling back here in the middle of the pack behind Brandon Holder. Nowhere to go. He is stuck behind Bobby Everhart. Has a look to the inside. Can't get the job done as Everhart blocks that lane. And the 31's going to have to try and go the long way around.
Next chase contender in line. First one leads, second one runs 13th. That's Brandon Holder. Next we have Ed Zaghetti, who runs 17th, and Keith Stewart in 28th. So all of them outside of the top 10 currently as they're fanning out 3 wide almost toward the tail end of the top 5. Brad Patterson is in that fight. Also have Brent Keith, Jason Seidliffe, Sean Ryan, and Turnmeyer. They're all jockeying for positions here at the tail end of your top 5.
I think we need to give Brad Patterson the best tailgate award, but we'll talk about that one later as they come.
You don't need to say anything good about Brad.
Still side by side, coming off of turn number 4. It's Brent Keith getting the run on Brad Patterson on the high side, but sticking there side by side. Oh, a little bit close through 1 and 2, maybe a little bit of a touch between the 32 and the 42, riding hard inside that top 5. Now Sean Ryan to the inside of the 32 of Keith Ivan Schrum, and this is not what you want to see for Brandon Holder. Look at just the gaggle of trucks. They're fighting really hard inside this top 10. He has nowhere to go. And if any of these guys make a little bit of contact like we nearly just seen before, they could ultimately spin one of these trucks in front of this field and could end their night. Right now, Sean Ryan still fighting hard with Brent Keith, Ivan Schrum right behind. Nowhere to go for that 3 truck. Has the pace but can't do anything about it. And Brandon Holder about 3-4 trucks behind, right in the middle of this pack.
That he is that number 31 machine, so he's just going to be looking out in front saying, oh no, Brad, please do not turn one of those glove box racing trucks in front of this pack. It would be absolutely horrible, as Brad has now got that move done on Brent Keith, and he's moved out to a nice little gap in that number 42 machine as Brent slowly actually looks like coming off corner number 4, reeling that gap back down just a little bit, but Brad Patterson going to be really happy to be in the situation he's currently in. And Ivan Schrum looking to the outside of Sean M. Ryan, just a little bit further down the order, not quite able to make a move just yet, as Brandon Holder, your first chase contender, is now inside of your top 10, door to door with Turnmeyer in the 54, and he gets that job done into 3.
Yeah, good move there from Brandon Holder, working his way through this traffic quite nicely. Not as fast as he'd like though, especially when the race leader is the person you're trying to chase. Is Randall Folks just pulling away half a second now out in front of the 85 of Paul Bliss. But look to the inside, goes to 3 of Ivan Schrum, down past the 29 of Sean M. Ryan, and behind as well the 31 of Brandon Holder. To the inside of Seidliffe, the 44 on that high side. Nothing he can do about the pace of the 31. Going to drop in front, coming into turn number 3, and a good move once again from Brandon Holder. And again, the 3 of Ivan Schrum making up another spot, moving himself into P number 6.
So he's going to be enjoying that out there. Unfortunately for Ivan, not able to transfer into this final race at Homestead. Missed a couple races in the last phase, and well, last time out, the race definitely didn't go his way. So he was one of the few, or one of the four rather, that got eliminated last time out in this championship. Randall Falks, though, trying to open the gap over that 85 of Paul Bliss, and this is pretty much what we saw in the early phases of that last long green flag run when you had Jake. Randall Falks roughly on pace with those that were up near the front of the field. Most of those drivers are shuffled down the back of the order. Now the only name that's really up there, at the start, is the 85 of Paul Bliss. They currently basically trading lap times back and forth relatively evenly and consistently, but it wasn't until we got into Townsend Land, which might be renamed into Falksville, where that floor machine really started to stretch the gap.
Yeah, it's pretty much once you get into those either land or ville or city or town or whatever we're going to call it for Randall Falks, it's one of those places where you can't catch him. And right now he's just sort of holding pace with Paul Bliss. Paul actually comes on a little bit as well as this battle. Patterson's lost a couple of spots to Brent Keith and now Ivan Schrum, but it's on back here for this top 5 positions. Everyone wants to maybe talk to us at the end of this race. I don't know why, we're not that enjoyable, but right now the 3 to the inside of Brent Keith coming through turn number 2 and trying to get that job done on the backstretch. Holder now moving himself up just behind these two in P number 6. There's still side by side between the 3 and the 32.
I know why that 42 machine really wants to talk to us. He wants to figure out who Randy is.
That's the best paint scheme of the year. I'm going to call that right now.
Might be as he goes to the inside of Brent, trying to make that move, and he's actually going to make it stick. So well done there by the Humble Bumble. Cornelius machine slides up in front of that glove box truck, and now Brent going to fire it back down on the inside on Brad. Will Brad be able to make it work on the top side?
Give it a crack through 3 and 4, not able to do so. Keith's going to run him a little bit high, just going to try and move that truck up so he can have the line that he wants. He's going to keep that inside as Sean M. Ryan and Sizlove getting very close. Sizlove was going to go to the outside there down the front stretch. There was no room. That was diminishing quite quickly. Side by side again between the 32 and the 42. Those two are running each other hard tonight, Randy, and maybe he doesn't know who Randy is and he's trying to tell him who.
Perhaps that very well might be the situation. He might just, Brent Keith just maybe trying to be like, hey, Randy's my boy. But trying to keep tabs on the race without going too far down the mean train. And actually, you know who's been really strong this run? 31 machine of Brandon Holder has made up huge amounts of ground. We mentioned the fact at the top of the run that everyone who was in the chase except for Randall Falks coming to green was starting. I think the worst starter was about 14th. Brandon Holder, he now runs 4th out there on the racetrack.
He made a good couple of moves through that traffic that's still going on. To Sean and Ryan battle with Brent Keith down the backstretch, but he made some good moves through that traffic, got the job done, moved himself in front of actually Ivan Schrum as well after he got sorted through the big gaggle, and now he's just sort of going to set his sights on these 3 out in front. Doug Lemmers is going to be his next target, and then Paul Bliss and Randall Falks, but good strategy, good little calls by them to actually work how they were working their way through it. He didn't push anyone, he just sort of bided his time, picked off one person in every lap, now sort of put himself in a good position here for the rest of the race.
The question is, though, he's 5 seconds off the back of Randall Falks, and that's actually mind-blowing as well. That 31 machine might have really, really impressive pace here. The fact that he came through that entire field with only 5 seconds back, that's power moves coming from that 31 machine as they roll off down towards corner number 1 and 2. The other chase contenders, though, Jake, they have not fared nearly as well as their compatriot as Holder, Keith Stewart, Ed Zagetti. They basically run where they started this run, 16th and 17th out there on the racetrack. They've made no headway at all.
Yeah, especially Keith Stewart. He's at the back of this pack right now in that 16 Kuro Carbon truck. Can't do anything about this traffic at the moment. He's going to sit there and try and see what he can do. I just don't think he has the ultimate pace. And it was one thing that a little bit worried me about Keith coming into this race. He doesn't have... He's very quick. He has good strategy. But it's just that little bit more that he needs out of a race-paced truck that the likes of Brandon Falks, Brandon Holder can actually get, that I've seen him being on the back foot. And right now, especially with this traffic, he can't do anything. He's going to the high side of Bert Wilson at the moment, but that line's going to be cut off by Perry Snelson. Whether Snelson can do anything about it, he can't. So Keith's just going to have to sit there and float around here in the outside of the top 15, and that's not a good day at all for the 16 at the moment.
No, it's not. They need to find somehow, some way to get up to the 16 machine. He tries to make a move. He gives a shot to Perry Snelson, saying, come on, man, get on with it. It's the 7 of Burt Wilson. Going to look to the inside now of Keith Stewart, and that's going to push things from bad to worse, as Keith Stewart getting held up behind some of the slower traffic in front. He's definitely got a quicker truck than these guys in front of him, but just not enough to be able to make a move. Now looks low, trying to get to the inside of the 7 of Burt Wilson. They're going to go, I won't say wheel to wheel, because one's on the bottom side of the racetrack, one's all the way up to the top. And 16 machine looking like Marlowe was out there earlier. No grip down there on the bottom. Can't make that move stick.
Can't make that move stick at all, and he's going to have to sit there, try and float around again and just try and find a way past that 7 of Burt Wilson, but no way about it that he can sort of do anything with it. One thing, update on Tim Marlowe, who was running up in front. He's actually stuck a lap down, so he's just sort of circulating at the moment, hoping for another caution so that he can get back on the lead lap. So it sort of all went unstuck under green flag conditions last time round. But Ronald Folks out in front, Paul Bliss sitting there roughly about half a second behind now. So Paul sticking with that 4 out in front. It just doesn't have, obviously, that ultimate pace over the 4 to get the job done. Lemon's sitting about 4 seconds back through 1 and 2, and Brandon Holder's dropped off the 3 of Ivan Schrum, and he has now got that gap down to 4.8 seconds to the race lead, only 8/10 behind Doug Lemons.
Brandon Holder's been really pushing, and looking at the lap times the last time through, they've been relatively equal. A couple tenths here or there can swing back and forth each way. Is at 33.3 as Randall Fox coming across stripe right here. Let's see what your 31 does. It's going to be a 33.4, so the gap going to be growing compared to the race leader, but Doug Lemon is going to be the next one in line as we're closing in on that number 100 lap. As we're still keeping an eye on this P6 battle, where this basically can only be described as the entirety of the field being led by a truck who doesn't know who one of the commentators for the series the past 3 seasons is.
And he's just putting up a fight with the 29 of Sean Emright. I think everyone has sort of challenged the 42 of Brad Patterson, besides Brandon Holder and Ivan Schrum, who disappeared down the road. That he's all managed to put him back behind him, because right now Keith's still back there, can't do anything about it in that 32 truck. 29 of Sean Emright to the inside, still having a dig at this one through 1 and 2. Try and see if he can get past the 42 of Brad Patterson on the high side, but Brad's having a good strong run up right now, and I didn't say it, and now Keith looks to the inside of the 42 as well to maybe see if he can get the job done. Going to give a little bit of shove to the 29 to Sean O'Brien, but it's a good little battle that they've got going on. But if a caution's going to come, it's going to come from these guys, because the way that they're racing really hard, but I just think one little misstep and it could all spell disaster for a lot of these guys.
Nate Blackhall just said the 42 was having a really good run, so as he goes wheel to wheel the 29 machine, I suspect that pushing up here on the exit of corner number 2, the 29 is Sean Ryan. He's going to push up the racetrack, hook the 42 and send him around. Not quite going to happen, but the 32 of Brett Keith, he wants to get in on this fight. I think the 42 is actually the slowest truck in this train, but he's on the favored line, and no one seems to be able to make that bottom stick. 29, though, is he going to get around the gatekeeper to the top 5 right now? That is Brad Patterson, basically saying, look, you guys want a top 5 finish, you got to get around me on the offline. Through into 1 and 2 they will go. Had a little bit of a nose, did the 29 at Sean Ryan, but not quite able to get the job done as the 42 throws it in aggressive on the top side, and he will hold on to that spot for now.
Patterson is actually really strong along that high side through 1 and 2, and he's able to dive it in there a little bit deeper than everyone else, so he's able to hold on. The 29 Sean Ryan to the inside once again to the middle of 3 and 4, moves up off of the corner, gets a little bit tight, a little bit of contact off the corner, and I'm not saying anything anymore because the 29 of Sean Ryan fighting hard with the 42. Sides up actually to the inside of Turnmeyer, who is in the fence through 1 and 2. Turnmeyer is going to grind the right side of that truck up against the wall. Everyone dives down low and gets around him, so no caution, no harm, no foul for the rest of the field as they work their way past the 54 of Turnmeyer, but that split the field up just a little bit, but I'm sure it will close back up as the 29 still looking for a way around the 42.
Still trying to get there any way he can. He's been pushing hard. Starting now, lap number 100 of 167. So 68 laps to go in this event here at Homestead, and Randall Fox still has a substantial lead over the rest of his chase contenders. Brandon Holder 5 seconds back and is starting to fall off by several tenths at a time, and 42 machine still fights with that 29 here as they go side by side again. in towards 3 and 4. Brad, I don't want to talk about it because I know the more I say your name, the more likely you are to end up in the fence. But as they work through now, off corner number 3 and 4, 29 Orion might finally have that job done, and he's about 80% of the way past that 42 machine. Well, Brad's driving it hard to hold on to that 6th spot on the top side. Yes, he does. Look at that momentum from that Bumble on the hood, giving him all sorts of downforce fighting with the 29.
I can't believe he drove it in that hard around the outside. I was surprised by that move, but the 42's got some pace on that high side when he wants to stick it down the outside of the 29 to Sean M. Ryan, and he's going to kiss the fence. No one hit him. He's hit the 2 of James Torrey. A little bit of contact. He's going to stay up there and sock the outside wall all the way around turn number 3 and 4, and that's going to spell disaster from 6 all the way down to pin number 18 at the moment. Now he's just going to recollect and try and see if he can get that truck back up inside the top 10. I'm blaming Randy on that one, Brad, so send all your invoices.
Randy who?
Randy, who is supposedly unknown at this present stage, but Ryan's got around him. Now Brent Keith and Jason Seisdorf going to see what they can do with the 16, but Keith Stewart's managed to sort of work his way up through that pack slowly now inside the top 10.
Brad, I'm sorry, we jinx you less often, but you don't run for glove box, so that's unfortunate, but a little bit of another inside joke there. As Brandon Holder, 31 machine, reeled in the 70 of Doug Lemons as they come now down onto the back straightaway and in towards corners number 3 and 4. I think Doug likely realizing that that's a spot that might drop away relatively quickly. But that said, 31 machine has really dropped off the pace last handful of laps.
Yeah, he hasn't had the ultimate speed that I thought he'd have catching Doug Lemons. And when you think of it though, they're coming up. Doug Lemons is on 31 lap old tyres. Same with Brandon Holder's actually a lap earlier. He's on lap 30 old tyres. So I think everyone is going to be coming down pit lane quite soon, maybe trying to stretch that window out as Tim Marlowe fighting on the inside of Jason Seisdorf. He is a lap down, just trying to get that lap back, but it just goes to show he's fighting hard. The 16 of Keith Stewart looking to the inside part of me, can't get that job done either. You're going to see what the 28 can do this time round through 3 and 4. I'm going to get the move done and move himself up, sort of not a position, but moving himself through the field so that he can keep on that lead lap. As one truck came down pit road, unable to see who that was, and that was Ivan Schrum, the 3.
Is that the 16? Actually, no, it's the 58. So both the Full Throttle Motorsports teammates, they call it down early. They ought to come down on towards pit row for what I think if you come down pit road here, Jake, you have to be saying this is your final pit stop. There's no way you have any hope of winning this championship if you're Ed Zaghetti going from here to the end, and I don't think you can make it 62 laps. So this is an odd time to come down pit road.
But when you look at it, Zaghetti actually dishes 38 laps on his tyre set, so that's sort of the same window that Zaghetti's been pushing, and that's where he's going to stay. Same with Ivan Schrum, that was 32 laps on his set of tyres, so I really think that these guys aren't playing the ultimate strategy game of running the fuel out. They're just sort of going, all right, my tyres are dead, come down and get some new sets. I think you need to stretch the fuel. I think you need to lose those ultimate couple of seconds that you might lose staying out longer, because it will pay out in the end. And those guys are going to have to make another stop, and it's going to hurt them later on in the day, especially for Zaghetti. That could be pretty much championship done right now, and I don't want to count him early, but he's got to make another stop. Randall Phelps has to make another stop, but that's it. I don't think Randall will have to make 2 stops in this sort of cycle.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that pit stop just took the 58 machine out of any hope of winning this championship, because it's just a situation. Coming down right there makes no sense. I understand he's been going for 38, 39 lap runs over the course of this event, but you're talking, you're logging lap number 106. You're 60 or so laps away from the finish. If you push an extra 8 or 9 laps, you can make it basically even stretches to the end. Pitting then makes absolutely no sense, and it goes from bad to worse as Doc Stout ends up facing the wrong way on the racetrack, and he will be locked a lap down, will be Ed Zaghetti.
Yeah, because Tim Marlowe is going to get that lap back, and so is Ivan Schrum. Looking at a replay of this one, and that was the 78 of Brent Day, giving him a little bit of a couple of shoves through 3 and 4, and then around he went. So Brent Day just showing, I don't know whether that was intentional or not, but just shoving him around the corner and putting himself in the fence.
He sort of just shoved him around as if he didn't have a teammate racing for the championship that just came down on a pit lane.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that, because at the end of the day, Zaghetti and Trum, they're stuck a lap down. So
right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he tried to help them. I'm saying,
okay.
I'm saying he kind of just messed his teammates over, is I guess the way I'll say it. So Brent Day, really no other way to say it. He kind of just turned Doc there. Maybe Doc a little bit off pace, but well, Doc was a lap down compared to the 78 machine. So yeah, Doc, unfortunately, that's going to be day done for him, and everyone pretty much going to come down. And I think this has to be, oh, this is lap 109.
Close.
Yeah, this is really close for everybody. This is the only thing that could keep the 58 in it.
Yeah, it's this is now going to be the point of 58.
And we just had a truck hit the pit wall.
Did we really?
71 of Everhart. He drove into the water barrel. He literally just drove into the water barrel.
I don't even know what that's about, but yes, he did hit the water barrel. It's a shame there's no water just flying out and spraying the racetrack, but we won't continue with that. He's managed to somehow hit the water barrels. I've never seen that, especially under caution, but Randall Folk's going to get his service done, and when they come across the line this time, there's going to be 57 laps remaining in this one. He did 56 last time. If he can stretch it one more lap, he may be able to get it done. And it's only one more lap he needs, and we know that Tim Marlowe can get 57 laps out of the truck because he did it, because he went one lap longer. I think this could be Randall Folks just driving it to the end, doing what he did in that first stint, and getting it done.
And where's everybody else? Keith Stewart cycled into 6th. Holder's in 4th still. Where's Ed? Where's Ed actually going to roll out? 21st. 58 machine's going to have a really bad day here, I think, trying to stretch. He's basically for the 58 machine, he needs to fuel save harder than everybody else. 58 machine needs to just shove all his chips in right now saying, I can do this.
Yeah, this has hurt the 58, no doubt. He's now just got to try and he's going to get the wave around at least, but he's on 5-lap old tyres. Again, he's on the old tyres, and now you'll be just trying to push it. He's got to stretch it to the end, but I don't think he will. I think he's going to come down pit lane. But it's a difficult one for Zaghetti at the moment. I think it's really put him in a bad foot. If he just stayed out, that's all we need to do. Stay out 1 or 2 more laps. I don't think he would have known there was going to be a caution, but it's one of those things. A couple of laps early, and it's put him right now on the back foot for pretty much the rest of this one.
I mean, there's definitely no way he would have known that there could have been a caution. I mean, I'm not saying he should be psychic or anything, but it's just such a weird time to come down pit lane, isn't it? You've been doing 38-lap runs, and you're looking at about an 85, 87-lap run to the end, and you just go 38, and then you actually pit at a time where you almost certainly cannot make it to the end on fuel. It's just it just makes no sense to come down when him and Ivan did it? Even for Ivan, yeah, Ivan's not fighting for a championship, but pitting there surely is senseless.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you on that too. I just think the strategy was a little bit out of the window. Unless I'm trying to undercut them, but there's not enough time to undercut them. By the time you undercut them, like Randall Folks last time around, they were just getting back onto the lead lap before Randall pitted. So it's sort of a catch-22 there. Lights are out in the pace car, but doubling them up once again. Randall, Lemons, Holder, and Stewart on that second row. There's pretty much 3 of our championship contenders inside that top 4. The final one, Zaghetti, going to be on the tail end, P number 20. So a lot of work for that 58 to do, and it's going to be an uphill battle for them. But right now, Holder, he had some pace in that truck, didn't he, Randy, on that restart? Now he's can see that 42, the 4, sorry, in front of him. Maybe he might be able to get the job done.
So, how is it going to play out here as the iRacing safety car is going to be getting ready to come down on towards pit road in just a moment? Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Ivan Trum? Is it going to be Randall Fox? I messed that one up pretty bad. Is it going to be Randall Fox doing it, being the favorite all day, awesome in the pace? Holder and Stewart, they sit just behind him in the top 4. Or will it be Ed Zaghetti, who's really going to have to Alexander Rossi it here from the end, save as much fuel as he can to have any hope? Green flag flies as they come down the back straightaway, and Holder's into P number 2.
Holder with a good move on Doug Lemons through 1 and 2 that time around. Paul Bliss already making his way past the 16, and Keith Stewart can't forget how strong that truck's been, the 85, all night long, and he's going to try and see if he can get Doug Lemons now coming up through on the back stretch, coming up through the front stretch, right behind Doug Lemons, and now already pulled out half a second as Randall Folks. He is trying to stretch away and go.
So maybe not saving too much fuel, maybe feeling really confident he can make this. And actually, Jake, one thing to think about is that on that opening run when he went 56 laps, he would have had the pace lap that burned fuel, and all of that would have been under green flag racing. To make it to the end from here on 56 laps, he doesn't have to do as many pace laps. Well, he doesn't have to burn a pace lap, essentially. And a starting number of those laps were under caution. So I think for the Ford machine, he should be able to go here and make it without saving much at all.
Yeah, it should actually be pretty good. I didn't think of that because, yeah, pretty much 53 laps to go in this race. And they're only just sort of running now full pace, really, when you think of it lap ago. So 54 laps, they should be able to make it to the end. But Brandon Holder, he's reeled in that gap just a little bit last time round. He sort of got the job done with Doug Lemons. Stop worrying about what's going on behind him because they're nearly 3 wide as Paul Bliss to the inside of Keith Stewart. Keith doesn't want to be stuck out there, especially with Paul Bliss. Paul wants to go for a win. He doesn't really care about the championship at the moment. He wants to end this season on a high, and he's doing a good job at it right now. He's looking to the inside of Doug Lemons. Coming off turn 2 as Keith Stewart. Big switchback coming down the back straightaway. Dives it down to the inside. Going to try and cut him back. And going to get it done through 3 and 4. Still side by side through the middle of the corner, but not able to get the momentum off the corner that he wanted as Paul Bliss a little bit loose coming off the turn number 4 and going to save that race truck. Keep it in P number 4 is out in front. Brandon Holder is there or thereabouts, and he's only a couple of tenths away from the back of Randall Folks.
Just needs to be careful here. He needs to not push himself too hard and not burn up his stuff. 16 to Keith Stewart. He wants to look on the inside of Paul Bliss here as they go and roll in towards 3 and 4, but not quite able to make that job done just yet. Everyone pretty much going to the bottom in that little scrap towards the tail end of your top 5. And I have to say, Jake, even though the 4 has been quickest all day, that 85 machine has probably been the most fun truck to watch. He's really the only one who can make that bottom groove stick when making passes. Throws it up to the inside of the 70 as I say that, and the 85 machine able to just about pull alongside. He's not able to make it stick the way I may have thought he expected to, or may have expected he could, but he doesn't lose as much ground on the bottom as everyone else. He can at least make a bit of a scrap down there. Everyone else, it just doesn't flat out work.
Yeah, everyone else just can't get as low as that 85 can. Right out near that white line, and he can just do so every lap and get that truck down there where he wants to put it right now. Still out in front, 0.2 of a second separates the leaders. Randall Folks and Brandon Holder right now. Lemons in P number 3, Paul Bliss behind with Keith Stewart being the watching brief, and Bliss has another look down the backstretch, not able to do so right now. Having a look back at Zaghetti, restarted in P number 20, only up to P18.
Unfortunate for him, and actually one thing to think about with him, Jake, where we mentioned the fact that likes of Randall and Brandon Holder and all these guys that just hit under that last caution, that they should be able to stretch it to the end. For Ed, he had a few laps of green flag racing before that yellow, so his run that he has to hit is going to be somewhere near 63 laps. The fact that he's pushing and starting to pick up spots, 58 machine 100%, unless we get another caution, well, even if we get another caution, everyone's taking tired, 58 machine has to stop regardless of what happens.
Yeah, the 58 has to stop regardless as the 85 now to the inside of Doug Lemons through 3 and 4. Paul Bliss going to see if he can try and get the run off of the corner of turn number 4. Coming across the stripe, 70's going to nose it just ahead to hold on to P number 3, but Bliss, is not going to hold back through 1 and 2 and dives it down, and the 70 of Lemons actually just rolls out of it and just lets Paul and Keith Stewart go get a slot back into P number 5.
So Paul Bliss will pick up that 3rd spot then, and Keith Stewart will sit there just behind in 4th as they roll through 3 and 4. 16 looks to the inside, getting some clean air on the nose of that machine, trying to get as much front downforce as he can as they come now on towards the front straightaway. Still not quite able to get the run into 16 and Keith Stewart, and Now, how do you try to get around this 85? You last time, you know, if you were Keith Stewart, you're maybe thinking of using the 70 as a pick. Actually having Doug there may have been an asset to that 16. Now he has to try to do it all on his own. I'm not sure he's going to be able to. There's a big gaggle toward the entering your back straightaway. Joyce, Nelson, Keith, Turnmeyer, Bowden, Marlowe, Jamison, Patterson, all side by side fighting here towards the tail end of your top 10 to your mid pack.
Yeah, tail end of the top 10, the 36 and the 6, Nelson. Wow, there's no touching behind as Brad Patterson's to the inside of all of them. I think Caden picked up a couple of spots there. He's going to move himself up into P number 13 across the stripe, but there's a lot of trucks in this little battle. Tim Marlowe trying to recover from being a lap down. In front of them, still side by side, is the 6 and the 36 for P. Number 8 on the board, and they're going to have a little bit of a shove. Here goes Perry Snelson from the 32 of Brent Keith to try and shove him down the inside of Christian Joyce. Joyce still holding onto that high side. Keith's going to be the watching brief as they join coming off of turn number 4. Joyce had a little bit of room but didn't want to use it. Tried to squeeze that 6 down coming off.
Oh, big incident, 3 in the 74. Ivan Trum's, he's around in the wall. This will surely bring out a yellow here inside of 45 laps to go. The 3 of Ivan Trum and the 74 of Abe Bowden. I'm not sure what started this as it came down the front straightaway coming off. They basically just got hooked together once, and that 3 machine, I don't know if something broke, but it sort of wiggled and just sort of came back on Ivan Trum. He sort of had to turn the wheel left. I'm not sure what happened there, but 74 machine ended up facing the wrong way.
The 74 machine ends up facing the wrong way. Oh, that's an interesting one between Ivan. I'm just gonna leave it at that because there's a lot there. The good move from Abe Bowden. Used the cutback through 3 and 4, dove it to the inside, a little bit of contact off of the corner, and then a little bit more contact after the initial incident, spun it around, and it's a confusing incident, that one. I have to agree with Hugo on that one. It's definitely a very interesting incident.
Couple different ways that could be taken, and I just won't say much from there. One interesting thing that's going to be happening as a result of this, and maybe I don't know if this is super public, it's on the website, but one of the things that drivers are having to do now in this championship, Jake, is upload telemetry files post race for you know, the committee to review. And situations like that, that's going to be a good, you know, cause for that, because they can just look at the telemetry and decide instantly whether or not that was just a racing incident or if there's any foul play afoot.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that, and actually that's coming in tonight just for the championship contenders, so they won't have everyone's telemetry tonight, but just the championship contenders. They're going to do a post-race inspection, so it's going to be interesting, and it'll be unofficial, but I think it'll all be official. I think everyone's going to be pretty clean as Randall Folks and Brendan Holder come off 1-2.
Pretty much as expected there, as everyone cycles themselves on towards the back straightaway, and I don't think we've seen very many changes in position. Actually, Keith Stewart picks up a big one. He's going to roll off 3rd, so he's going to be a very happy camper for that. And coming to what might be one of the final restarts, top 3 all championship contenders: Randall Fox, Brandon Holder, Keith Stewart. We're going to step away for a couple moments here on RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live. 126 laps, about to make 127, have all been covered without a break. We're going to take a break, rest our voices, get some beverages, and bring this one to the end for you. Don't go away.
Red Bull GRC is now available on iRacing. I personally put my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, developing the cars, the tracks, the dirt, making sure it is authentic as possible, and I really think you guys are going to love it. The best part is that this 600 horsepower Volkswagen Beetle is free to all members. So get signed up now and come race me online.
Welcome back here to Race Spot TV and iRacing Live as we time that well as we immediately go back to green. Flag racing for Randall Fox. He takes the green as second row. 16 of Keith Stewart fight side by side with the 31 of Holder. Not a good jump for the 31 on that top groove. He's going to lose one spot to the 16 of Keith Stewart. 85 of Paul Bliss also looking the inside of that 31 machine. Yosemite Mountain Escapes truck up on that top groove, trying to hold on to that third spot as we're approaching 30 laps to go. We're inside 40 laps to go, but nearing in 30 laps to go in the finale here tonight.
Yeah, 38 laps to go as they come across the stripe right now. Holder still stuck on that outside of Paul Bliss. Not much he can do out there at the moment, and he's going to have to lose that position to the 85 of Paul Bliss, who's had that such a strong truck all night long. Again to the inside, gets the job done. The 70 of Lemons looks like he had the momentum coming off of turn 2. Can't get the job done. The 31 now looks to the inside of Paul Bliss. So Brett and Holder trying to get the move done as they make a little bit of contact through the middle of the corner between the 85 and the 31. Just a slight touch unsettled both of those race trucks now coming through the front stretch, coming into turn number 1. Holder still on that inside, but a little bit of contact. Don't think Holder will be wanting to get into this battle too hard.
16 of Keith Stewart's going to be looking in his mirror and seeing that blue and white 31 machine on the inside, saying, thank the Lord that's you and not me, because Keith Stewart picked up the spot on that 85 under the caution. That meant he started on the low side, and well, with Holder not getting a good jump here, Jake, imagine Keith Stewart, he just has to be thinking the roles could easily be reversed, because he was having one heck of a time getting around the 85 before he managed to pick up that spot under pit lane.
Yeah, roles could have easily been reversed, and having a look back in the pack, the 58 of Ed Zaghetti has made himself his way back inside the top 10, I should say. Now working his way on the inside of the 36 of Christian Joyce down this back straightaway. Going to see if he can get that job done. The 6 gives him a little bit of a tail rub going down into turn number 3 and 4. Thought about getting into that left rear, just a little bit close, but coming off of turn number 4, that 58 looks like he's got a little bit of speed in that race truck to try and get himself up to these guys in front, but he's got a lot of work to do and a lot of fast trucks to pass if he wants to have anything for that 4 Randall Fox down in front, who is just skipping away 7/10 of a second over Keith Stewart and Randy. But I think that's a pretty decent gap. Pretty much the only other 2 people who could stick with him was the 85 and the 31, and they're not there to do anything about it.
Yeah, that's pretty much the situation. Paul Bliss, Holder, the 2 fastest pretty much out there on the racetrack. And then again, Keith Stewart, because of the way they're fighting, it's sort of opened up a gap to those 2. Not a lot, but those 2, the 85, the 31, were easily the only 2 drivers hanging with that number 4 machine. But that said, Keith Stewart, he's sort of just trading lap times. He's within about 3/4 of a tenth, which is, I don't want to say it's good enough, but Keith Stewart, he's not letting Randall get too far ahead here. The gap is 7/10 of a second. If he can sort of hover here, he's sort of okay.
Sort of okay.
Sort of okay.
As we look back, the 7 actually side by side with 32 of Brent Keith behind them is actually the 28 of Tim Marlowe, still unable to work his way back through this field as those 2 still side by side in front of him. Not able to get anywhere to the inside of the 7 does the 28 of Marlowe. Going to have to wait another time round, but yeah, it just still nothing out in front. The gap staying the same between Keith Stewart, Randall Foulkes, Paul Bliss, Brandon Holder, Doug Lemon, still all pretty much single file. Side by side though behind Zagetti on Jason Sideslove. He's making some moves now, Randy. He hasn't done many all night. He's been sort of just floating around that back for so long there at the end of the day and sort of middle of the race, sorry, and at the start he dropped a fairway back as well. Now moves himself up into P number 7. Next on his hit list is this 29er, Sean Emrine.
So how quickly will he deal with the 29 as they deal with the lap truck, as he's not quite close enough to Sean M. Ryan to even think about making a move as they come now down on towards the front straightaway. 58 machine, all sorts of momentum though compared to that 29 machine down this front straightaway and working the slipstream and thinking about tucking down to the bottom. Not quite able to get there though to make a move just yet. Actually does go there, gets a little bit of clean air, pulls alongside that 29 machine of Sean M. Ryan as they work themselves now up and off corner number 2 and down the back straightaway. Momentum from the top side working for that 29 machine, but can the 58 make it stick down on the bottom in 3 and 4? This end of the racetrack seems to have been a little bit better. They're going to be very close and loses that 58 machine. He knows the head for a moment, but not enough to pick up that spot. 29 will hold on for now.
Yeah, 29 holding on to that position quite nicely right now, just sort of giving his teammates now a little bit of a gap out in front. That's Brandon Holder, obviously, who he wants to try and keep the 58 behind, you know, to sort of let his teammate skip away. But Zagetti, pass, day done. Now going to see if he can try and get a close up on the Doug Lemons in front for P number 5, and don't know whether he can get that job done. Behind the 36 and the 6 still side by side. That's Snelson and Joyce. They've been side by side for quite a couple of laps right now, and the 28 of Tim Marlowe has gotten around, but Wilson may be able to try and join this battle. Snelson not able to get the job done this time, coming off of turn number 4, now into 1 and 2, not side by side. The 28 though to the inside of the 32 to try and get that done.
The 28 machine slots at the inside. 6 machine, I think, maybe slightly touches Brent Keith in the 32, but not enough to really upset Perry Snelson. A little bit of loose, I think, maybe coming off the corner because of that contact, but overall, relatively clean between the two of them. 28 and Marlowe still down to the bottom, looking to make up some spots as Snelson slots himself in line, and Marlowe's going to have a clean groove on the inside, except no, he won't. Perry still wants around that 36 machine of Joyce as they go door to door again in through 1 and 2. Marlowe trying to slot on the bottom, and somehow he's going to basically have to make this 3 wide as Snelson tries to take that away. Snelson, it's almost like that. It's like something out of cartoon. He's trying to fight with Christian Joyce. He plugs that hole that's draining out of the dam, and then another hole pops up, starts draining water. He's trying to plug 2 or 3 different things, block 3 or 4 different trucks all at once.
He's doing a good job of it at the moment, I must say. He's actually held out the 28 just a little bit. He still can't get the job done on Brent Keith. He still can't get the job done though on the 36 Christian Joyce. Snelson now having another look. He's sort of running that middle group. This 36 up really high, nearly into the fence. That's the Larson line if I've ever seen it. Right up near that fence, not able to get the job done, but that's given the 6 and the 28 ahead of momentum down to the inside as the 32 blocks the run from the 7 of Bert Wilson. Had to check up down the back straightaway. The 6 finally clear of the 36, and now the 28 of Tim Marlowe side by side with Joyce.
Now, can the 28 machine make things happen much quicker on Christian Joyce than the 6 of Snelson was able to do so? Down to the bottom for that 28 of Marlowe this time through and working that bottom groove. He's going to be able to carry good speed. I think without Snelson down there to maybe block him, he should be able to get this job done and over with quickly, and indeed he does. He's not fully clear just yet, but he has a nice little gap over the 36 right here right now, as should be able to get it clear here. Next on his sights will be the 6 of Perry Snelson. One thing to also talk about, little ways up the racetrack, 58 of Ed Zagetti. He has now reached himself somehow up into the top 5, Jake, and that means we're approaching 20 laps to go. 4 chase contenders, all of them in the top 5, and the 16 of Keith Stewart is fighting hard with Paul Bliss.
16 is trying to keep P number 2, but Paul Bliss wants none of that. He wants to get amongst 24 laps to go when they cross the stripe this time round. So we're sort of getting to that window, and does Ed Zagetti try and stretch it? We've seen him come down around that 35-38 window. He will be going longer this run, as the 16 of Keith Stewart just said, nope, I don't want none of that. You can go and try and chase down Randall Foulkes, and off he goes into the sunset with the 85 of Paul Bliss. And it's interesting. I thought Keith may have just kept trying to push that one, but I think he may have sensed that that 85 was getting a little bit impatient. He knows he's got the pace to try and close down that gap to Randall Foulkes. He just needs to clear it to do so, but sort of giving it to Randall Fox, isn't it, Randy, with the 16 to Stewart, just saying, you know what, I'm not going to get him, so off you go.
It is just one of those situations, though, that for Keith Stewart, if he doesn't have the speed to reel in that 4 machine, give it to the 85. And actually, one of the things to think about is that 16 machine was fighting with the 85 for a handful of laps. Did he maybe burn up some time that the 85 could have used to potentially reel that gap in, and maybe even burn up that 85's tires those handful of laps, maybe ruin the chances that Paul Bliss had of ever being able to reel in that 4 of Randall Fox? Because for Keith Stewart, passing up that spot, that doesn't change anything in the championship. That doesn't drop him down at all. Paul Bliss not one of the chase contenders. It's that 31 behind him he really needs to be worried about, and that 4 machine out his windshield. I think I would have done it maybe, you know, I don't want to say I would have, but I think it would have been a better call to maybe do that a handful of laps earlier when the 85 first got to him rather than holding him up.
Yeah, but still, no one remembered who finished in second, so we'll see. We'll see. He's got a long way to go to catch that 4 of Randall Fox, and right now there's still coming up to 21 laps to go, and if another safety car could change up everything once again, so Bliss going to try and close that gap. Stewart sitting P at number 3 at the moment, Holder in 4th, and Zaghetti rounds out the top 5, and they got a lot of work to do. Zaghetti's had a really good comeback drive though, from pretty much being stuck a lap down, now running into P number 5. Whether he pits early, I don't know, but right now he's closing down on that 31 of Brandon Holder and may be able to take P number 4 away.
But will he be able to do so with Brandon Holder fighting with the 58 of Ed Zaghetti, and you're going to have Keith Stewart a little ways up the racetrack as well. These two, will Zaghetti be able to pick that spot up over Brandon Holder as they run themselves now in towards 1 and 2? Need to keep in mind question marks on the fuel for pretty much everyone here. The laps continue to get logged and run. Actually, I lied. We had a caution. I'm not a smart person.
I was going to say, they should be good on fuel. It's who's actually going to risk it and bring tyres down. I don't think anyone will. You'll be running around about 42 laps on the tyre set. We know Randall Fox can do that on the tyre set. A lot of the other guys haven't pushed that 40-odd lap mark, so we'll see what happens as Zaghetti gets the job done coming off the turn number 4. And as I say that, caution out there on the racetrack.
Where is it going to be? Aaron Ames and Bobby Everhart, they're both involved in this one. What happened here? These two fighting down in towards 1 and 2. And that's another awkward one.
I think that might have actually started a little bit later. Yeah, a little bit earlier than that. Ames went down to the inside through 3 and 4 last time around. They made a little bit of contact coming off. Yeah, a little bit of contact coming off of the corner. A little bit of a dual move out through 3 and 4 on the exit, and then I don't know whether Aaron Ames, just got back into Everhart through 1 and 2, and so another little bit of an interesting incident between those two. A lot of damage to that 71 after the water barrels, and that truck's got a little bit more to go along with it. But under caution again for the nice as the pace car picks them up. And now everyone, I don't think anyone's come down pit road as of yet. Nope, they're all just starting to funnel down onto the back stretch now, and this is going to be an interesting cycle of pit stops, Randy. This has to be your perfect one. 17 laps to go. I think we may go to the end. If not, this could be your last time on pit road. You've got to make sure you nail it.
Yeah, you need to be absolutely picture perfect here. So I'm just having another look at the incident. I don't know if that maybe wasn't intentional error or not. That was, he drove it in there hard, but that 4 machine of Randall Fox, he's going to lead him down towards pit lane, and boy, oh boy, you can likely expect for everyone, Jake, this will probably be the last time you come down pit road unless we run a lot of laps and then get a little bit of a run to bring us towards the end. But 4 machine has to be perfect. 16 machine, everyone, if your name is in that top 4 coming into this one, you need to be picture perfect. 4 machine of Randall Fox doesn't slide the box at all. He looked great.
Yeah, that was a great pit stop there from the 4 of Randall Fox. Straight in the box, no issues whatsoever. Should be the first one off. Nice and cleanly gets the job done, and 85 is nowhere. So an issue for the 85 of Paul Bliss. I think he may have stuffed out that pit stop. He's only just rolling off now, so the 85, I'm gonna have a look back on that one. Wow, that has to be a millimeter out if I've ever seen it. He's come into the box, stopped on the marks, and he had to roll back, and then he's had to wait because it didn't pick it up. and he's had to move a touch forward, it looks like it, later on the stop. It was nothing in it.
Yeah, 85 machine. Yeah, he sort of had to back it up twice, and I'm not sure what happened there. He's not going to be happy about that regardless. He just threw what would have been potentially one of his best finishes and arguably a chance to win away. But you know what it opens up? 4 chase contenders running top 4.
Again.
Again.
I feel like every time we've done this and every time that they brought in this format for this series, it has brought the top 4 to the front, and it's pretty much if you win, you win the championship. Right now, it's sort of going that way. Randall on the outside, Keith Stewart, defending series champion. I definitely called in the underdog. Now on the outside of row 1 for the restart, that could be the final one of the day, coming up to 15 laps to go. Zaghetti and Holder pretty much as a watching brief there in 3rd and 4th, and could be any single one of them. But one person that I'm going to keep an eye on this restart that might drive a little bit over the top, no, I'm not saying that in a bad way, I'm saying he may just want to come and mix them up a little bit, is Tim Marlowe. We all know why Tim Marlowe would want to do that. He's teammates with Randall Fox, so wouldn't be surprised if that 28 may come and spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that 28's been quick all day. Remember that first 60-some-odd lap run we had at the start of the race? It was the 4 and the 28 who led the way the entire way through. Now, we haven't had one of those super long green flag runs over the course of this one, but still, we're in a situation where, you know, teammates are there. It's going to be interesting. It's actually a result of that incident we just had. Chairman and Race Control has just parked Aaron Ames for the day and said pit road if they want to talk about it. So Race Control deciding Aaron did that one on purpose, that incident, and brought out this caution.
It's an interesting one, that one, but we'll discuss that later. Obviously, the chairman, Matt Holden's actually come in for this final race to actually watch over the race to make sure it all runs smoothly. That's obviously why there's obviously the post-race inspection of the telemetry of the 4 championship runners, so that everything has gone the way it should tonight. And at the moment, the 4 out in front gonna have to do that after the race, and that's why the main results will be unofficial, but we'll sort of call them unofficially official. But right now, 2x2, top 4, all championship contenders. It's on, and Randy, it could be anyone's day right now.
It certainly could. Top 4 coming into this one. The 4 championship hopefuls, they run and make up rows number 1 and 2. Inside of 15 laps to go when we go back to green flag racing. The 4 has been phenomenal. The 31 machine had something for him at one point. Green flag waves. Randall Fox gets a good jump. 16 of Keith Stewart. A horrible start here that's holding up that outside row. The 58 of Ed Zaghetti. He's going to look down to the bottom. He might be able to make something happen here. He's going to be door to door with his championship rival of Keith Stewart. He needs to get this job done right here, right now, if he has any hope of having enough time to reel in the 4 machine that's just skipping away.
The 4 is gone, and he is not coming back because he's going to try and skip as far away as he can. The 58 Zaghetti to the inside. He's going to pick up P2. The 16 loose through 3 and 4. That's in the fence. That could be day done. Championship over for the 16. A Keith Stewart defending series championship. It's done. It's over. The 16 is now rolling down the front stretch with nothing left for that one. The 31 now lost the spot to Tim Marlowe. Now going to lose the spot to Doug Lemons as well, and that could be day done as well. Lemons going to try and fight with the 31. No, can't get the job done. Holder now going to try and chase down the 28 of Marlowe, who is trying to put the 58 behind bars.
Ed Zaghetti needs to be pushing hard. He has a big gap he needs to reel in to the 4 of Randall Fox. 7/10 of a second and only a couple tenth buffer to the 4's teammate of Tim Marlowe behind, who is slowly reeling in Zaghetti. Randall Fox lap time last time through 31.852. For Ed Zaghetti, it's a 31.901, half-tenth of a second. Not a lot of time, and normally over the course of most races we might okay with this, but for Ed, he needs to bring that down as much as he can. He needs to be running qualifiers, as he seems to be fighting tight the way he pushes up the racetrack off of 4.
Yeah, pushed very hard up the racetrack that time through 3 and 4. Ran a little bit quicker than Randall Fox last time round, but Tim Marlowe, he could be the ultimate win man and lock this up. Right now, he needs to get to the back of the 58. Was a little bit slower last time round, but he's still there. He's still got the pace in that truck. He's got one behind him. He needs to get the other one behind him right now, but the 58 is getting wants none of that. He's going to try and close down this gap with Randall Fox out in front. Pretty actual calm restart besides the 16 getting into the fence. Everyone else pretty much single file. Besides that, Paul Bliss is making some moves. He's already up to P number 9. He's at P number 8 now with Bert Wilson alongside him. He is flying in that 85.
85 of Paul Bliss, super quick, and be really irritated that he made that mistake down on pit road, but he's already up to P8. Well, he's fighting for it anyways. With the 7 of Bert Wilson, they're going to be door to door as they come now down towards turns number 3 and 4, inside of 10 laps to go here on season number 6. 85 pushing with Bert Wilson, loose is Paul Bliss. He's going to reel it in back underneath them. 7 Machine of Wilson up on the top side, going to hold on to the spot because of that. Meanwhile, out in front, the gap continues to slowly grow in favor of Randall Fox, but it is somewhat stagnant. Zaghetti doing a good job to keep the 4 on.
Yeah, Zaghetti is doing a brilliant job at the moment, trying to chase down for that championship. 8 to go when they come across the stripe for the 4, and that's going to be the 8 longest laps of Randall Fox's life right now out in front. The 31's trying to chase down the 28 of Zaghetti, and right now Paul Bliss has got a whole bunch of trucks in front of him. Perry Snelson still running with Sean and Ryan behind him, with Bert Wilson right there. Nose to tail, going to see if he can make up any more positions out of that 85. That truck has been on song all day long, but out in front, Randall Fox, that truck has been not missed a beat, and right now running out front 9/10 of a second. It's just gone out to a second as they entered 3 and 4 right on my live timing at the moment, so pretty much trying to stretch it out to a second as this battle still heats up for just inside the top 6.
They managed to do it. They came across the stripe. 1.067 the gap to Ed Zaghetti as they came across that time through. 7 laps to go as they came across the stripe there as well. So Ed Zaghetti watching his championship hopes slowly slip away, and the 28 of Tim Marlowe has gotten notably less aggressive as the 4 has been able to stretch that gap out more and more. That said, Brandon Holder, he's still fighting with Tim Marlowe over that 3rd spot because he can see the 58 machine not far up the racetrack whatsoever. Brandon Holder wants anyhow, any way to at least have a chance at 2nd.
He wants to have a crack at getting P number 2. Marlowe just doesn't want to give a bar of it. He still wants to finish the season on strong in that 3rd spot. Here comes Holder though. Good bit of momentum coming off of turn 2. Good exit though from the 28 Tim Marlowe. Even though he ran that low line, still did a good job to get that truck up off the corner. The 85 behind though to the inside of Sean M. Ryan. He touched the apron a little bit, got into the door of the 29, moved him up the racetrack. That was unintentional, I think. I think the 85, he clipped that apron and it just drove the truck up the racetrack, clipped the front of the 29 as he went by, moved himself up the racetrack and got the job done. So he moves himself up another position. I don't think that would have been the way he wanted to get it done, but anyway, he moves himself up into P number 7.
Oh, and they're 3 wide. Sean M. Ryan through 1 and 2. Christian Joyce tagged the rear of him. 44 of Jason Seidlove involved as well. 5 laps left in this championship. The 42 of Brad Patterson, he's in this fight towards the tail of the top 10 as well. And everything is kicking off up and down the field. Randall Fox continues to stretch his gap, closing in on a 2.5 seconds. Marlowe currently still sits in 3rd, and Brandon Holder has not found any way to make a move on that 28 to maybe be able to fight for 2nd. But everyone else, even though they're not fighting for championships, fighting hard to close out season number 6.
Yeah, and someone who isn't fighting hard right now, coming onto pit road, he's just flying down, actually, onto pit lane. That would have been a speeding penalty if I've ever seen one. The 16 of Keith Stewart. His day is done. It's gone from bad to worse for defending series champion. He's not going to defend that title. He's going to make way for someone new, but it's been a great season. No wins this year, but can't say his consistency wasn't there for that 16. It all just went wrong at the end. But now out in front, Randall Fox, Zaghetti, Marlowe still trying to keep that position from Brandon Holder. Behind Sean M. Ryan with Christian Joyce. All over the 44 is around on the back.
Caution. 44 Caution
That's
is
it.
going to fly, and that is going to end it as the 44 of Jason Sizlove, one of the most consistent and clean drivers this season, gets into an incident with the 42 of Brad Patterson. Not quite sure what happened there, but 42 getting touched, got all sorts of loose, tried to save it, and not much he could really do. The two of them end up facing the wrong way, and that is going to end the championship. I almost said that Brad's race hadn't been ruined just yet when I mentioned it was about a lap ago, and, well, that ended up happening.
Your fault again for ruining his race.
I
He
didn't say it.
I know.
I did not say it, but this one is going to end under caution, Jake, and that's going to be a little anticlimactic. Then again, Randall was out to a 2.5 lead. He was making it anticlimactic regardless.
He was doing everything he could to win the championship, and Randall Fox, 1 lap to go. White flag is in the air with the yellow as well, and Randall Fox is going to be season 6 champion, and what a championship run he's had. I think that he pretty much dominated both road courses this year, freakishly as well. He was super fast on those ones, and then everywhere else, 5 wins this season. This will actually be his 6th win of the season to pick up his championship, and what a way to get it done. And Zaghetti tried everything he could in the end, but just I don't think anyone had the pace that 4 had.
31 of Brandon Holder is going to break the rules, pass a couple cars under the caution to give that 4 machine a congratulatory tap on the rear bumper. The 4 machine of Randall Fox, an impressive run that started a season ago, dominated that championship, unfortunately had to pull out midway through. Man, he had no hopes of winning it that time. This time he comes out, and Brandon Holder, who actually took the first 2 races, Randall Fox started this season on the back foot, on the wrong side of luck, on the wrong side of strategy, the middle part of the championship, new winners every single week. And then once we got about 2/3 of the way through, this truck, the number 4 machine, started dominating, and Randall Fox in the Randall Fox Racing number 4 will come home and win here at Homestead and win season number 6 of the Raven Graphics and East Peak Contender Series Championship. And Brandon Holder not done saying congratulations just yet.
Not done as the 58 as well comes along to congratulate the 4. The 70's going to give him a little bump going through 1 and 2. It's been an awesome job from Randall Fox and all of his teams. Can't forget he's got a crew chief there, Tom, who does a marvelous job working that pit box, and they get the job done. And again, 6 wins this season in the chase. Does a good job, as Marlo is going to follow him around. Whether they try and do burnouts together, I don't know, because last time I think one of them, can't remember who it was, ended up on their roof. Last time around we tried to do teammate burnouts, but
that was the Full Throttle guys at Dover.
Yeah, it was one of them at 4. One of them got it done and ended up on the roof, but brilliant job from Randall Fox, and now he's going to burn him down on a well-deserved victory and a well-deserved Season 6 Raven Graphics and East Peak Contender Series Championship.
While the 4 machine has been doing his best trying to push, maybe somehow, some way, get himself a NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series license, he will come away and win this truck series here at the Raven Graphics Contender Series live from Homestead. And maybe this is a bit of momentum for him, as the format will change going into next season in that NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, and the feeder series will come through a truck series that will essentially be running alongside. But regardless, he is going to be a happy camper as he continues to burn them down. And let's go down your post-race results here from Homestead. Randall Fox takes victory, as I just stated, and the championship in Season 6. Ed Zaghetti will finish 2nd. And, well, I'm not sure which one's Val Kilmer and which one's Tom Cruise, but one of them saying that they could be the other's wingman every time, the other one saying, bogus, you can be mine. Randall Fox's teammate comes home in 3rd. That's Tim Marlowe. Brandon Holder 4th, and Doug Lemon will round out your top 5. Perry Snelson will finish 6th. Actually, a really good run from him. Kind of snuck his way up near the top 5 towards the end of this thing. Paul Bliss in the 85. What a night. He had qualified 9th. Arguably had the second fastest truck on the evening, just not quite the right places at the right time to get this one sorted. Burt Wilson will round out 8th, Sean Ryan 9th, and Christian Joyce rounds out your top 10. Glenn Jameson 11th, Travis Turnmeyer 12th, Brent Keith 13th, Ryan Lang 14th, and James Torrey 15th. Now the trucks that finished one lap down this evening are more. Doyle Lowrance one lap down, and then now we get into the trucks that did not have a nice finish to this one. Jason Sislove, Brad Patterson, Timothy McQueen, Keith Stewart, James Hickson, Bobby Everhart, Doc Stout, Everett F. Lane, Abe Bowden, Ivan Trum, Brent Day, Aaron Ames, Timmy Logwood Jr., and Adam Jocelyn is going to round out the 30 truck field to end the season here. Don't go away. We'll be right back here on RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live, bring you the post-race coverage, post-championship coverage here from the Raven Graphics and eSpeed Contenders Series. See you then. Welcome back here to RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live as post-race coverage starts on the Rise of Champions 250 here, put on by Raven Graphics. And you know what? Let's just kick it off. We'll be joined by series sponsor Doyle Lowrance, as well as Randall Falks for the presentation for the race win and the championship win. Doyle, what a season it's been for you. Raven Graphics again hopping on board, and well, number 4 machine, he kicked off the domination last season, and he started on the wrong foot this time of year. Didn't quite start the season the way he wanted, but he eventually found some traction. Dominated pretty much the entirety of the chase, the entire phases of the chase, from about the middle point of the season onwards. Is all the Randall Falks show. What do you have to say to him winning tonight here at Homestead and winning this championship in season number 6?
Yeah, absolutely. First, I want to say congrats to him. Man, I tell you what, a dominating performance. I mean, you started out slow in the season, but came through. This is, I think, your 6th win, and you pick up the championship. Congrats. Awesome job.
Thank you.
Well, he's not very talkative after winning the championship as Mr. Randall Falks, but Doyle, thanks for joining us. Hope to see you next season come out and run strong. But until then, you have a good, happy and safe holidays, and hope to see you going into season 7.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be around. I just want to say thanks to you guys, the broadcast crew, for an awesome job, especially over the last 3 seasons. Incredible job. So thank you.
Thank you, Doyle. Much appreciated as always. But Randall, moving over to you, this entire season, let's sort of just start again from Daytona. In a position to potentially win the season opener at Daytona, you get caught up in a late race incident. Next race out, you're leading, miscalculated the fuel, and I don't even think you really won a race until we got about 5 or 6 weeks into this thing. But then from there, you managed to find a little bit of traction and then started winning a whole bunch of races, and you make it 6 on the season after tonight. How did that make you feel in that number 4 machine, and how was it dealing with the different phases of this championship for you, knowing you started off cold and then slowly heated up and then eventually became really the strongest driver in the season through the end?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. We really expected to come out and have a lot of success earlier, but it just didn't pan out that way. We were kind of scratching our head, wondering if we were going to catch a break and actually win one of these things. And as you said, as the season went on, we knew we had good trucks, we knew we had good speed, and we knew it would come along. It was just kind of frustrating to break through, and once we did, we kept the momentum. And
now for you, of course, going into season 7, we're probably going to be probably going to be off here for a couple months. I don't know if there's actually been any dates officially announced. If there has, I certainly don't know. But going to be kicking this championship off from Daytona. Of course, there's been a couple things that have been suggested for what to do this championship. Not sure if there's an official decision just yet. But what's the plans for you here through this offseason? I know you've been running in the Pro Series. You won the second split race last night at Darlington. How has that been going? Do you think you have any hopes of, somehow scrounging your way into the Peak Series? Or how's that effort been going?
Well, unfortunately, we had some really bad luck there too, starting out, and there again, we've had tremendous speed all year, but just hadn't had the luck. And I'm not real sure how this season will turn out over there, but we're just going to finish it out and see where it stacks up, and go from there. But as far as off season here goes, we hadn't made any plans yet on what we're going to do next season. We're discussing things, so. We'll see where it shakes out when some announcements are made and see what it looks like then.
Well, congratulations, Randall, on the win tonight. Congratulations on the big championship victory. Before we let you go, any shout-outs, anyone you would like to thank from that number 4 Randall Falks Racing machine?
Oh yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for a pretty clean race tonight. I expected a little bit more shenanigans to go on. But it was a fairly clean race. It was good to have good green flag runs, and thanks to Tim Marlowe for all the work he put in this season. And we really went to work hard on this setup over the past week to try to make sure that we could come out and dominate and get the job done. And I think we did that tonight. And just a stellar performance from the team for the chase, and thanks to Tom Romick for being there every week to make adjustments on the truck when it wasn't so good. And thanks to Hero Engine on the truck. They come on board and been an amazing sponsor for us so far, and we can't wait to bring them all along wherever we might end up. So they've been great. Thanks to Keith. He's an amazing job over here. But just thanks to everybody that goes into this. You guys, it's been an amazing year.
Well, you're more than welcome, and congratulations again, Randall. You have a nice, safe, and happy holidays as well. We hope to see you kicking off strong, and I believe February is sort of the loose plans as we look towards Daytona.
I appreciate it, guys.
Moving on down the order, we'll go second in the race, second in the points. Mr. Jake Blackhall, you're stood by with Ed Zaghetti.
Drive all the way. We stood by with the 58 of Ed Zaghetti, and Ed coming home in P2, but that was a tough night for you from the word go, off on the wrong foot. Couldn't get the job done ultimately over the 4 of Randall Falks, but managed to get yourself in the second position, managed to come home second in the championship, so couldn't have ended that bad for you.
No, it was a pretty good race. The congrats to Randall. The cautions fell when I didn't need them. I was trying to do some undercut, and it didn't work out. So, I mean, it's part of racing.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely one of those things. Me and Randy actually were very confused by your strategy, because even then on the before, when we sort of had it around about, I think it was like 70, 80 odd laps to go, then you came down around that 38 lap mark. You actually, I don't know whether you were going to try and undercut again. Don't know what your strategy there, because we were sort of looking at you going, that was too early because you couldn't make it from the end from there. Was that your plan all along, to just try and keep undercutting them?
Oh, yeah, I was going to undercut that time and then run the last stint all the way out, because I could get almost 61 laps on the tank.
That's more than what we were expecting. Again, my information was fed wrong to me this week again. But Ed, it was, even though your pace in that last stint though, that truck was super strong. Once obviously that caution fell, you were on the back foot down, pretty much a lap down, got the lap back. But you drove that truck. The truck looked perfect on night. How was it though from a racing point of view? And did you maybe have anything for Randall if you stayed up the front like you were starting from third?
We were pretty close. I'd say, being out front, you have a little more advantage. Hats off. He had a good race, and second place is good. I don't think at that end, when you first start off, and I had Keith to the right going into one, you need that center lane really to get the momentum up for turn 3, and I just didn't have enough to get through 3 to draft back up on them, and that was about it.
Still though, awesome job from you this season, and all your teammates as well at Full Throttle Motorsports. You guys have had a good season, and coming off this one, can't be unhappy with a P2 and a second in the championship. Though, before we let you go ahead, any shouts, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Keith for all he did, you know, and has done, and Matt Holden, the crib guy, you guys, GBR, Yosemite Mountain Escapes, eSpeed, Raven Graphics, and most of all the drivers out there, and to my teammates. I wouldn't be here without them, and I don't know, kind of disappointed, kind of happy, you know, but
yeah, it's one of those ones, coming home P2 knowing you were that close. But anyway, Edward, I'm sure you'll give it your all next season and try and get it done. But happy holidays to you and the rest of the team down there, and hopefully you can come back strong next season at Daytona.
Thank you. Happy holidays to you guys.
And that was Ed Zaghetti coming home in P number 2, and now I'm going to chuck it over to Rennick, who's going to be stood by with the other RFR teammate of Tim Marlowe.
Yeah, I'm stood by with that number 28 machine. And Tim, what a run it was for you and your teammate Randall Fawkes. You guys qualified pretty well here tonight, 1 and 2, and pretty much through that entire first run. First of all, you guys were the only 2 drivers to push the fuel the way you did. And second, you guys were on another level after about 30 laps of running compared to everyone else. Everyone else was basically pitting, and you guys decided to stay out, run the full 56, 57 laps of fuel, try to cut a pit stop if things went green. How much work went into that setup to make it last twice as long as other people were going?
Well, we knew we had to take it easy, and it's actually very, very close to what we ran last week at Atlanta. Made a few changes to it, and then I decided to try something else after Randall had tried it, and I sent it to him, and he was in a practice room earlier, and he's like, "I love this." He said, I can win with this." And I'm like, good. It makes me feel good that he was able to run that. And I made a few changes to mine during the race. I've learned a little bit about running the bottom 1 and 2. Seemed like I could get down there and pass when I wanted to, because I got in traffic after that. Supposedly passing under yellow, I don't get it. I missed the pits, like trying to catch the field after that long run and trying to work my way back through the field. And as I was coming back through, the pace car pitted, and I missed the pit, so I had to pit on the next round. And then I somehow got a passing under yellow. A little bit later in the race, and my screen went black, and I ended up pulling over and letting everybody go through pits, so I had to work from the back a second time. So it was a tough race, and I'm just glad to overcome some adversity on here.
Yeah, Jake and I saw some of that happen, and we were really, really complex. And believe it or not, that was not the worst pit road effort we saw tonight. We saw one car hit the pit wall, which was not good. But regardless, Tim, it was a hard-fought season for you and Randall. Like I said to Randall, he sort of started the championship off on the wrong foot, and you were sort of thereabouts, had decent momentum, but never quite able to close something out, and missed the mark, unfortunately, as we came towards the end of the season. But how was it fighting with the driver that got the most wins over the course of the season, or having him as your teammate, as things on the trot? You've had Travis as a teammate in the past. How was it having that 4 machine?
He's great. I love having Randall. He's taught me a ton on how to drive vehicles that are really not up to par. Learning setup stuff with them. They run a lot of the different series that I don't run. I love the trucks, and that's just pretty much where I stay. I've done a little bit of A recently, and it's just been great running with them guys and learning from them.
Well, thanks for joining us, Tim. Congratulations on a big 3rd place finish tonight. Unfortunately, championship didn't go your way, but I think you'll be coming out strong going in towards season number 7. Before we let you go, any shout-outs? Who'd you like to thank? Who gets it done for that 28 Randall Fawkes Racing machine?
All the guys over at Randall Fawkes Racing. It's a great team to be on. Mike Ehrenhardt over at Green Earth Services and his wife's Flare Printing Company, and they're sponsors of my truck. And then we got all the War Shocks and all the team sponsors, and everything that Doyle Lawrence has put into this season and the series, and everything that gets done on here. It's just, and Keith, everything he does, which y'all do. It's just been great. I enjoy coming here every Wednesday night and watching all the replays.
Thanks again for joining us, Tim. Hope to see you in a couple months' time when season 7 gets underway.
Thank you very much.
Now, next in line, Mr. Jake Blackhall, you're stood by with third place finisher. Fourth place finisher in the race, third place in the points, Mr. Brandon Holder.
Yeah, I'm going to be stood by with the 31 of Brandon Holder. And Brandon, coming home in P number 4, it might not have been that championship run you would have wanted, but it was a race to behold for you. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was a struggle a little bit. The truck was, we had a decent set, and we made some good changes to it there towards the end, and then got a little damage, and then it was over from there.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of people who had damage really dropped off the pace. Was it more just an aero damage that you got, or was that more of a suspension damage that could have actually tweaked it a little bit? Because I know a couple of trucks that actually have been getting damage, and I know myself, when you get the damage on this new aero model, it really hinders the truck in terms of speed. Is that what you felt?
Yeah, it was only like 16 seconds worth of damage, but it was the hood on the right side was popped up there pretty good, so it happens.
It definitely does. But what a season though for you guys in All American Motorsports. You might not have gotten that championship, but you guys have really been that dominant team that each week would come in and you guys would be pretty much there, if not up front, pretty much most of the time. You guys gelled well as a team. Is that sort of the same sort of lineup that you plan on having, and how do you guys plan on going ahead for next season?
Yeah, it all starts with the team, and I couldn't be happier with the guys I got. We may look to pick someone up for next season. We'll see what happens here, but yeah, we'll be there next season, and I think we've built some good momentum. Sean and Timmy's got some real good finishes of late, and I'm just super proud of the work that they put in and the way that we gel. There's no drama in our team speak. There's, it's just all good, man.
Yeah, it definitely shows it, and it shows it out on the racetrack. Obviously, Sean's picked up a lot of speed, got a pole, I think it was last week before, so he's definitely picked up some speed, same with Timmy Logwood as well, so you guys definitely brought it on this year, and obviously didn't get the team started, but still, just an awesome job. And Brandon, even though for yourself you might not have come away with the championship, but it's been a strong season for you, even with a couple of wins early. May not have got any more during the rest of the season, but still, just being ultra consistent, it paid off for you in the end.
Yeah, man, we started off like a house on fire, but we kind of cooled off. But there was chances to win more races. I mean, I'm happy with 2 race wins. It's so hard to win in this series that's a big accomplishment for me. So, all in all, it's been a great season for the whole team.
Definitely has. And before we let you go, though, any shout-outs, anyone you'd like to thank on what has been such a good season for that number 31 truck?
Yeah, I want to thank Doyle Lawrence for the sponsorship over the past 3 years. Man, we really appreciate all the time and money that he's put in the series. Of course, Keister for all that he does for the series. I mean, without him, there's no series. So, Timmy and Sean, Chris Jennings for the help that he started and the sponsorship that he brought to the sport, and all the drivers, man. It's like I said, it's so fun to get out here every week and run with these guys.
Yeah, it definitely is, and congratulations again on what has been such a strong season, and hopefully next season you can kick it off strong once again at Daytona and get another one under your belt.
We'll be there, and also I want to thank y'all for the broadcast, man. That's a lot of fun to go back and watch the day after there, so really appreciate it, and props to y'all guys.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate doing it, Brandon. And now we're going to move over to Randy, who's going to be stood by with our final interviewee of today, coming home in P number 5, Doug Lemons.
Last interviewee of today, last interviewee of the season. Doug, it was a good run from you. You did not qualify well at all. 21st. Well, you didn't qualify at all. What happened on that qualifying run? Did you just make mistakes, or was that a strategy decision to start in the back?
I spun both laps.
Well, that's an interesting strategy call. Why would you do that?
Strategy. There you go.
Well, definitely not starting the race you would have liked, but the way you would have liked, but you finished it really, really well, driving all the way up to the field, decently competitive all night with that 70 machine. How was it for you? You said you spun in qualifying, so that quali set must have been really, really loose. Was the race set nearly that on edge, or did you have something a little bit safer for the longest run of the longest regular race of the season, non-plate race, that is, tonight?
Oh, the tune was stable. It never really stepped out at all. I was just a tick off. I just couldn't keep up with the couple top guys. I was just a tick off. I don't know where it went, but I didn't have it.
Well, Doug, for you, you've been someone we've been watching run these races. The past 3 seasons we've been covering it. Moving in towards next season in February, what are some moves you're thinking of making? What are you looking forward to? Maybe any rumblings in the background amongst the drivers and the admins and whatnot. Are there any things you're specifically looking forward to next season, or any team changes, or what's in that mind of that 70 machine through the off season?
We've added Travis Turnmeyer. I think he's going to be a real good addition to the team. And it's going to be Perry, Travis, and I. So I think we'll do just fine.
Well, thank you for joining us, Doug. Congratulations on a good, strong top 5 finish to round it out. Also, pass on our congratulations to Perry, who managed to round up a good finish towards the end of the season as well. Before we let you go, any shout-outs? Who would you like to thank, as you're the one closing out the season?
Well, I'd like to thank Raven Graphics, Lone Star Rod and Customs, Yosemite Mountain Escapes. I'd like to thank Brent Keith for painting mine and Perry's truck. I believe he's one of the best painters in iRacing. You guys, obviously, and Keith Stewart for doing what he does. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of fun.
Thanks as always for the thanks, Doug, and hope to see that lime green number 70 run strong here next season, here in a couple months' time.
Well, I'll give it a whirl. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
No problem. And Jake, that rounds it up for the interviews for the season. One more Glovebox Racing Boss Dog Award to give out, and where is Brent Keith's money going today?
It's going to go to that 85 of Paul Bliss. And Paul, you drove pretty much faultlessly all night. Just that final pit stop cost you, but you had some pace, and the way that you drove, it was fun to watch you all night, pretty much, and that was Randy's word there. So congratulations, the 85 of Paul Bliss going away with the final Boss Dog of the season, and what a way to do it.
And, well, we don't have a race to preview coming through this season, Jake, but what a season this has been. We'll sort of we'll review the season supposedly, but Randall Fawkes, I think everyone, coming into the season, a lot of people were looking at number 4 machine to be the favorite, and he ran strong from the get-go. He was running strong since Daytona, but through the first handful of races, always on the back foot, always on the wrong side of strategy. But boy, did that number 4 machine come alive around third of the way, midway through the season.
Yeah, that 4 was pretty much on fire from pretty much midway through, and it's going to be interesting to see how it goes, because if my calculations are correct, and if I remember correctly, it's not calculations, if I remember correctly, we're going to have a certain Townsend back, and I can't wait to see what Townsend and Fawkes are going to do out in front. I think that is going to be a battle for the ages to see what they're going to do, and the rest of this field is getting just better and better every season. Obviously, we know Randall won 6 races this season, but he did that at the end when it counted. He knew what he had to do and he got it done. And remember, 2 of those were actually road course race wins. When you put the rest of this field and the amount of guys who have won this season, William Toney obviously winning, getting his first win. He's been in the series since however long he's been in here, obviously since we've started broadcasting it. So there's a lot of names. I'd say Stuart will bring some more drivers into this series. So it's been awesome to watch another stellar season. I think it was better than last season again, and I think just the caliber of this series is just getting stronger and stronger each week.
I don't think I could say it much better myself. So I think on that note, for the final time, we are going to wrap up. Well, the final time this season, not the final time. The world isn't ending tomorrow, don't worry. But for the final time this season, I am going to close it out here on Wednesday night for the Raven Graphics and eSpeed Contender Series. Huge shout outs to as always, to all the people who put on these events: Raven Graphics, Yosemite Mountain Escapes, Glovebox Racing, everyone, eSpeed, everyone who chips in to make this championship possible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Huge shout outs as well to Mr. Keith Stewart adminning it. Also Mr. Matt Holden, someone who doesn't really typically make an appearance during these race nights, but he's going to be here today. We hope to see you when this championship rejoins us sometime in the next couple months. Be interesting to see if there's any newcomers when they go out to Daytona in likely somewhere around February. Till then, if you're not done watching iRacing content just yet from RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live, be sure to tune in on Friday as we have RaceSpot Friday prime time. I believe you're going to have the C-Fix trucks in the Euro time slot, and then the Friday night Dirt Night, that's going to be kicking off once again. Global Rallycross is going to be at Iowa. Then we're going to have the late models and the sprint cars. They're going to be picked. The sprint cars are going to be at Knoxville. Late models, I believe, will be at Williams Grove. But until then, we hope to see you next time. Bye bye.